Hello everyone.
Hey.
I'm gonna
Hello.
make sure that we can hear everyone, so if you can just say hello a little bit quickly. Should be good sound-wise, right? Can get some confirmation.
Yep, I think so. Testing.
Hello? Testing?
And yeah,
Can stream hear us?
you hear the rest also, not only me, right?
Wait, what's that? We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, they can hear you also, so that's
okay.
great. All right. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining in today's special stream. So Monday stream instead of Wednesday. And as many of you know, if you haven't noticed already, we have the big patch finally, quite long overdue. The big TC patch tomorrow finally. A lot of stuff have been happening on the network side as well that is also going in this patch. Also the reoccurring node crash that have been harassing the live status for quite a while, so finally getting that in place as well. Music too loud. Okay, 1 second, I'm gonna try to lower that a little bit. Let me know if this is better. Hopefully. So yeah, we got some guests in today's stream. As you can see, some guys that you may have seen streaming the game as well, on and off, over the year or so. I don't know if you wanna say hello to the to the people joining in here. I guess you guys know most of the people in here, but say hello.
Yeah, I mean, do you want us to introduce ourselves?
You can say a quick introduction if you want to.
Yep. I'm Nazori. I streamed at the start. I've been on and off streaming since the MO2 launch. You guys may or may not know me. I don't know. Play in a small guild. We got Kuthara, who is not in a small guild. You want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm definitely not in a small guild. I'm Kuthara, leader of Keepers of the Oath, played since the beta of MO1 and part of the coalition in the West.
I'm Lourdes. I'm a mercenary in Nightfall, play up in the northeast of Gulcore.
I'm Shadow. I've been playing for a long time, almost as long as Cathara. And I'm part of Salt Pack.
Right, yeah, thank you for participating in today's stream. So yeah, I thought it could be cool to have a little chill community pre-TC hype stream, or whatever we want to call it, where we can focus a little bit on TC that's coming tomorrow. And thanks to, again, who was it? Again, I got this little... as you can see the video in the middle here of the stream from some of the testers when we did a Siege event.
I'm just watching that footage, and that is amazing looking. I think it's from the same video I was watching, because I wasn't there, but that footage that's been put together looks so good.
It was really fun. You and me, Lourdes, had a little fight up.
We had a few duels, didn't we? You had some OP weapon, Henrik. I think we have to talk about what you were using. What the hell was that?
You know, I had my special character, which is camera character. So yeah. It wasn't really, up to fighting. So I had a little special gear that made me a little bit more durable, so I could run around surviving those footages.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
No, it was super fun though, that whole siege, and I think. Obviously, it was a little unrealistic, all of us running around in Og and everything like that, but I think people had a really good time. I know at least the people I talked to afterwards were excited to do more.
Yeah, it was really fun. Was it like we had 2 of the Siege events where anyone could join in that had an opportunity in time during PTR3. And yeah, we got a lot of people in location. And this is some of the footage from one of those fights. So yeah, really awesome to see a lot of people participating, and yeah, it worked really well. So I had a lot of fun. So it's going to be very interesting tomorrow when we finally go live with TC. We had quite a few test sessions, and also thanks to the community, everyone participating and testing TC. Been extremely helpful, obviously, to get the balance right, and obviously to find nasty bugs and issues that we had to get under control. And yeah, thanks to everyone's help. We are very excited to be in this position, and hopefully we will have a smooth patch with TC finally. But yeah, it's been quite a while since we planned to go live with TC, but I'm sure you have heard my explanation going through why we had to put everything on hold throughout some chaotic period of development and core stability issues. So yeah, it's been a few months for sure until we could reach this day finally. So and as we can see on the current or the topics today, we have a special giveaway today also that we want to do, which is a Nvidia card 4070, obviously a nice graphic card. So anyone that needs a upgrade obviously will be able to sign up. I'm gonna write when it's time and what to type to participate in the giveaway. But yeah, it's a nice card that will go well with Mortal Online.
I just have to ask Henrik.
Yeah.
The last guy who won the graphics card, did he ever get it? He was wondering about that.
So
Obama.
So one of the issues was that we had a person from Russia where we simply couldn't send the card. So there were some complications. Unfortunate, not a little bit out of our hands.
Got you. I think he was wondering about that. He was talking to me a few weeks ago.
I talked to him also in person, so he should obviously be up to date on why that happened. So yeah, we will see. All right, so I guess we can proceed. We got a few subscriptions here. Thank you guys. I may be missing a little bit of this, trying to keep track of everything at the same time here. As you know, I'm still a noob streamer, not that pro yet as some of our fellow streamers here.
I'm a noob. I don't know about these guys, but
I'm a noob too.
I'm not sure about that. Let's see if I can just switch over top here. Where the hell is my buttons? Okay. All right, let's continue on. So we got TC. A lot of people have been asking on and off over the months that we've been talking about TC. What does TC stand for? And obviously that is territory control. Most players have been following Mortal Online knows that's one of the big conflicts patch or whatever we call it. There's a lot of interesting player interaction, and obviously that it also comes with some conflicts. We have a lot of guilds and keep owners that obviously will fight for control and dominance in the world. And for the first time ever, also along with this, obviously we're getting the siege mechanics finally, with a highly improved function where we have this siege window mechanics. One of the issues in the first game when people were asleep and they wake up to a blown up base, not very exciting to wake up to. So over the months we've been talking about how we could improve those issues in the game that you know, push people away, force people to take a break and be exhausted to lose those kind of things. So we have a really nice mechanic in place, and I have encouraged everyone to also read up a little bit on the rules, because we have got a lot of questions over the month as well when it comes to defense and how all that work. And we have a manual on the website that covers this also quite in detail. So if you're not sure what to do when TC goes live, it's good to read up on that so you know how defense work. Just in general short, it means that you can quite easily go above 100% defense for all your TC assets by controlling both towers. You have the supply lines as a keep owner, and you have storehouse also. Anyone can construct a storehouse that also adds additional defense. So it ticks up over time, and in that way you can see and secure that, okay, you have this much above 100% defense, for instance, which means you will have X amount of hours until you are, you know, open for some serious damage. So that is our transition to a more proper siege window mechanic, I would say, without having a strict counter until the war actually begins. And we got a lot of good feedback on this system. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what happens tomorrow, if people go straight on heavy defense or what the hell is gonna happen. So yeah, we have a few people here from some different guilds, as you can see here. Kota, a very large guild that have been in Immortal 9 for many years, since the first game. We at Starwater are always quite excited to see what the hell everyone is up to and what's gonna happen when TC finally launches. I'm not sure if anyone even dared to reveal any of their plans or inputs when it comes to that.
Don't know about that.
I'd probably jump in a little bit if you want, and then
Sure.
I'm sure Lord Os will tell us what's going on in the northeast as well.
Mm.
I mean, from our perspective, there's a lot that's going to go on right at the start, right? Everyone's going to be making a mad rush for prominence and building up their structures. I think we're generally going to be seeing what everybody else does, and I think a lot of people are in that same sort of position where they're just waiting to see who throws that first boulder, and then chaos ensues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we still
Yeah.
have the coalition versus act, or am I wrong?
I
think it's
don't.
changed a few times. Yeah.
As one of the glorious commanders of the ACT, I don't think it's kind of a off the whim thing. We need to feel injustice in the sands, and it's been pretty chill for a while. So I don't see any ACT rallies anytime soon. I think everyone's going to be too busy with their own like little personal wars in their regions.
Yeah. So yeah, we've added a few more control towers also based on some of the feedback. And we also, obviously put everything on more normal ratios so we don't have the speed up of things. And we also added additional steps that you're going to see for the first time tomorrow, which means there are a little bit more progression steps that you can achieve as well. And of course, we also took the opportunity that I hinted a little bit in previous streams that we have been adding a lot of interesting dynamic spawners spread out in entire Meoland. From the north to south, including a lot in the jungle also.
Oh, I was gonna ask that specifically, actually.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, continue.
Oh, I was going. That was gonna like one of my big questions was every single patch we get a lot of new POIs, and I was going to ask about that, but you just kind of confirmed it. So we're getting a bunch of POIs, and the jungle's getting a little bit of love. Yeah.
Right, so we've been working additionally on dynamic spawners. We tested them with, I'm sure some of you guys have found the outlaw spawners that we have been testing some things with. Spread out quite a lot on Milan, and now we expand on that system. So there's a few more that are a little bit more casual, I would say more for single new players, also close to starting areas. And then the further out you go, the more of these, similar to the outlaws that you already have seen on live. But we also have additional steps on top of that. And also, yeah, quite a lot spread out and also heavy in the jungle and where we have been missing a little bit on that kind of action. And they have some interesting rewards and loot. So it's going to be interesting to see people's reaction and feedback on those being expanded on as well. So yeah, hopefully we will see more. Obviously interesting just to travel around the world and run into these encounters. It's a quite interesting, clever system how they ambush players when you travel around. So they're not standing there waiting and just always spawn in the same way. You will see some variation to spice things up and make it a bit more interesting. And they should have some interesting reward and loot also. We also did a little run on all point of interest, chest, barrels, urn, all of those in the world. Did a little tweak there to make sure that should be a little bit more rewarding when you finally go to them. We've gotten quite a few feedback that when you open them, they're frequently looted by players. So we're still working on some mechanics that will expand that additionally, but we have done a little bit to make it a little bit more rewarding to travel around the world and discover these things. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. And rumor has it there's something in the jungle hidden.
Whoa!
Okay. What are you doing here, Henrik?
What?
How
The
big? How
jungle's
big
a
is this
big
thing?
Just a
place,
li- just a
Henrik.
little-
something.
Just a little thing I heard. Just a little thing.
How valuable is this little thing?
It's just a little thing. So it's going to be interesting to see. if that's something that someone will find or not, you know, I'm not sure.
And just to be clear, you said
okay,
you added dynamic spawns to jungle. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Henrik, do you remember the last time you told me to find something in the jungle?
I do.
I'm not sure.
There
You
was
don't
a
remember that?
Follow the
I think it was like
monkeys debacle in the States
about
version.
2 years ago.
All right.
You hid yourself somewhere in the world. Do you remember that?
Ah, when you were going to find me, was that the?
Yeah, it was it. Yeah, you were in the
yeah.
jungle. I found you.
Right. Yeah, that was. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, the world is quite large, right? And especially in the jungle, it can be quite difficult to navigate and know where you are. So yeah, it was quite interesting to see how fast someone could find me when I was hidden in the jungle. So that was cool.
I think I've spent probably over, I don't know, definitely over 500 hours just in the jungle, just like wandering around. So now that you said something's hidden there, I have to find it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something little. I heard a rumor, you know, so...
And this hidden rumor thing is on patch, right?
Yeah, it's all in the TC patch.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we're taking down the servers quite early tomorrow to prepare everything and deploy everything in order. And we should also have some little visibility on some networks, trying to push that finally. TC is coming. Obviously, we have the timing with, you know, we are still a little bit in the summer, but I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but vacation times is probably slowly getting back to normal, right? Or how is it in your areas?
School starting here. I think everyone's kind of getting back to not summer stuff, right?
Yeah.
Not as much vacation.
Yeah.
Question about server stuff. So you keep mentioning stability. So is that like when you say that, are we getting more space per server? Are the alt servers turning on if too many people try and join?
So we have obviously have been working a lot when it comes to network performance capacity and large scale battles. And one of the things obviously is that we have been working for this to make sure that Epic Games is our kind of, we see it a little bit like a re-release, right? We have a good opportunity to release the game on that new platform. We will be running on Unreal 5 then also, and have some other interesting tech that looks to be first of its kind in this setting currently on the market. So that's going to be interesting and exciting to release. And obviously, we all know how important that release will be in terms of if we see a good amount of players that want to play simultaneously. Obviously, we need to have plan B and almost even plan C in place already to be prepared if we see that, okay, we need to scale up very quickly. There are too many people that want to play, and we, you know, if the queue is out of control, so it's not acceptable anymore. We know how important that step is, and we are making sure that we have the plan to scale up very quickly rather than having to panic build something that we kind of had to do a little bit during the Steam release earlier. So yeah, we have been working on that a lot in the background, and that's also been one of the big thing and reason why we had to delay TC so much, because obviously if there's a big battle going on and people can't log in to participate or defend, that will be quite negative, right? So we've been working a lot on big battles and capacity, and doing a lot of tests, thanks again with the community, to make sure that that is scaling correctly on the servers. And yeah, so far everything we have collected and got so far means that we have extremely good performance on the servers. We haven't been close to any capacity numbers, and we're also calculating the numbers we're getting now on the current numbers. It's always a challenge to click a button and get like 3,000 people joining in a battle on a PTR server when we want it. We're not Blizzard that can do stuff more like that. So we always do what we can, right, with as many players as we get that help us, and that's been extremely helpful. And yeah, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how many people will show up as well. Obviously now when TC actually go live tomorrow, so we will also use that data if we get more and more players to see how we can scale up and, you know, be ready and stand by if we need to scale up differently.
So to reiterate, you've been working on improving performance, stability, and I don't know, number of players in a certain area. And on release, if things break, we get alt servers. Is that what I'm hearing, or no?
So there's a few options here. So we're not going to start the servers at the same way that we did previously in Steam, because obviously we also know that the alt servers not having the ability to use brokers and build things TC, that's a big part of the game, right? So there's a few options depending on the population we're looking at. If we see that there's a huge amount of players and it's very rapidly growing, and obviously we don't have the time to scale up with additional continents and so on, that could force us to a step where we actually have to put a server, for instance, in America, have one in Europe, and have them as two. In one version, they are like two continents, but they're still in the same world, so you can still travel to them. And then we are flushing out one to be the other continent. That is one option, and the other option is to just have them separately for all time, which would be a little bit more sad, because obviously it doesn't fully go along with the initial plan with one world, one universe. So that is why we obviously prefer to go the route with expanding the land based on different servers. For instance, one in America, one in Europe, but they're still in the same world. It's just different continents.
Is that a soft confirmation of NA Sarduka then? Or no confirmation, but a thought.
Yeah, I don't dare to confirm 100% when it comes to these steps, because obviously it can be sensitive depending on
Yeah.
So
But
Henrik,
that is a strong consideration, yeah.
yeah.
was that just obviously with you setting up a service tomorrow and it's going live tomorrow? Are you saying then if obviously we get too many people trying to get into those servers, we will be splitting out into alt servers?
So we have a much higher capacity than we had in Steam. So the problem is, I will say that we are monitoring. Obviously, if we see that the queue is getting ridiculous, it should be a huge difference from the first Steam release. Which means also that the queue will also move very much faster. But yeah, we are on standby if we absolutely need to scale up, because we can't just not allow people to access the game.
Yeah, and MO2 is one of those games where people get real serious when there's a queue, right? I remember the Steam release, we had a situation where the server was full and the people on the server were not logging out for anything, right? People are doing anything they can to avoid logging out. So it is just one of those necessary things that if you have too many people who want to play the game, you have to have some sort of avenue. People are bringing up, balance issues, I guess, in the chat with like transporting things for sieges.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to prevent that sort of stuff on alt servers?
Yeah, that's one of the thing, right? That we wanted to build in the same way as, or follow the same rules as when there are another continent, which means you can't just travel in the world and log into the other server and be there. So it's gonna be like it's one world, and you have to travel in the same way. So you can't just be in two instances or travel back and forth between servers in the same location. And that is to prevent that.
You had a timer, right? It was like when you were on one, you couldn't log into the other for quite a while.
Yeah, there was a cooldown, a timer to prevent a very quick swap in and out between them.
I think I can foresee where some of the tension points might be. For example, if you're getting sieged and you're unable to log on to defend that asset, there's going to be an extreme amount of obviously pushback around that, because you're going to have people literally sitting on a waiting list, waiting to get in, unable to play while they lose stuff that they've obviously put in months of work into.
Yeah. Right, and that's also why we pushed TC for several months while we have engineers working on the network side to thread out all the different data calculation on multiple servers. And, obviously we can only test so much with all the players we have that are helpful enough to join in and push that as much as possible so you can get data on it, and then try to scale up and simulate. We also have bots that we use to simulate data, but obviously having a real deal with a lot of players is always king when it comes to confirming those steps. So obviously it's going to be very important tomorrow to follow all this, and also just to see, make sure where are we standing ahead of being ready for the Epic launch later this year.
Obviously, like, we keep asking the same questions because we're all terrified of what happened at release happening again. If you know, because people do have their eyes on this game. I already know some moderately large streamers, not like, you know, a few thousand viewers, are going to be playing on release, you know, that you probably don't even know. I don't even know these people. Totally random. I just heard through the grapevine, I guess. So there's going to be a boost in population, and we're all, you know, slightly worried that it's going to be released all over again, and the servers are going to blow up. Nobody wants that, obviously, but we're all worried.
Yeah.
Even if we're not saying it. So that's why we keep asking.
Of course, and it's been one of the biggest challenge for this game to have one world with so many players spread out in the world, and that's why we have worked for what is it, almost a year, only on the back end as well, to thread all the kind of different calculations and optimize the calculations on the server side. And you know, we still don't know exactly the capacity limits. I mean, we know when it comes to simulation and such, but and we only have so many 100 players playing on PTR, where we got real data, and try to scale that up. So the thing is, earlier in previous network, we had a scale where things were very cheap with just a few players online, or, you know, a few hundred, and then it quickly, when you had a battle, or, you know, you reached around 2,000 players, it very quickly scaled up. So the cost went exponentially. What's the word I'm looking for?
Exponentially?
Yeah, exponentially more expensive. And that's where we started to see node issues, and where people notice delay and such. So the new network system works a little bit opposite. It's have a base cost a little bit higher at all time, but it also scales very much more efficient the more players we have logging in to the game. And that's what we've been testing entirely throughout PTR3, with very promising data and results. And
I think we are all quite glad that you have taken time to make sure, you know, you've put as much into this as possible to make it work. I know a lot of people are like, I wanted TC 12 months ago, but as we both know, Henrik, a bad TC release is really bad. So I think the fact that you have done the PTRs was a really good route. I will just say that the difference between now and release is, on release no one had anything to lose. So if the servers go wrong now, like, the impact is 10 times.
Yeah, of course. TC, when people build cities and now you can siege, obviously it's more risk or reward, or content that you can lose, obviously, that have higher value. So obviously it's more sensitive, and that's the reason why we postponed this for this long. We needed to finish those steps that we set up as bottlenecks on the network side, and obviously also we had several bugs and issues reported from players that we also had to put on our requirement list, and finally solved those guild issues and so on, where you couldn't invite or kick, obviously quite bad. So finally having those covered also on a control along with the network is a big important milestone for the game.
Slight aside. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So aside from the server connection stuff, I know something that I've been wondering, actually, and I know a lot of people have, regarding equerries and priests. I'm not sure if you know, because obviously we've got the new buildings that are coming in tomorrow. Dedicated buildings for them. I think a lot of people are wondering, are equerries and priests that we currently have in our house and strongholds going to get deleted tomorrow, or is there a bit of a grace period after TC releases?
Yes.
If you know.
Right, we got a few of those questions from several guilds, and we understand obviously how important that is, and also quite a few gave us input that they were worried about when it comes to the defense balance. For instance, if you own a stronghold, and if you have to walk out of your stronghold. Obviously, you don't have the protection of walls like you do when you have a keep. Having to stay out next to the enemies while defending your stronghold could be problematic, right? So
Well, it's not possible. Actually, it's not problem. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
If you control the priest, you control the stronghold.
Exactly.
So that's the way it works now.
Exactly. So that's one of the things, right? So if we just remove them, then that will be problematic. So that's why we made sure that we're not removing them on TC. They're going to remain as they are, but we need to transfer them in a proper way so they follow the same mechanic. We can't have like two systems like a mess in terms of codes, and one is in one way, another one is another way. So we need to clean that up, and if it comes down to that, it's actually something that we need to confirm a little bit with the community. If we need to keep the possibility to have priests in Stronghold, for instance, to have that opportunity to be able to re-gear inside your keep or Stronghold if we die and be able to defend it, then we may have to transfer those priest functions to a similar way of how the priest buildings is in TC pretty much, but it comes along with a Stronghold also as an option. So for now, it's gonna be a grace period, I would say, until we have that figured out how we need to do it exactly.
So basically, we're keeping our priests in our stronghold, and at some point, we're gonna have the new building somehow supplying a priest to the stronghold, and then we'll remove the old one.
If the conclusion come down to that, also in general, the community think it's necessary to have a priest option on your stronghold.
Because you kind of need one with what you just brought up, and otherwise fights would be over in a moment, right? You'd be killed once, and they would camp outside your priest, and then
I think the problem with that though is if you have 2,500 gold, which for most people isn't that much, it's one of the strongest things in the game to be able to plop down something, have the closest respawn.
You're slightly wrong there. It's okay. 2,500 gold is not much for most players. Like the majority of players, that's a lot of gold. We live in a bubble, you and I and the people we play with. That is not most players.
If a guild can't get together 2,500 gold over like a month or something, then
over a month, but that's fair though. That's fair though.
And then as soon as you have 2,500, you've got a infinite respawn to a dungeon, which means that say if you just have whatever sets you want there, if they die in the dungeon, you can get back there as soon as possible.
The infinite respawns are not great. I mean, obviously you tackled that in MO1, Henrik. It was a problem in MO1. You tackled it obviously with stat loss. I don't think stat loss is the way you want to go, and I don't think anyone wants that. But infinite respawns.
I think a timer would be better. A timer would be just an increasing timer.
If it could just close that priest down for whatever time, and the more times you spawn off it, the longer that timer is. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, these are the details, right? We're not removing them because of obvious reason we need them, right? But we need to consider what is the proper transition so they follow the same function, and if we need cooldowns or whatever those balance numbers are required on them, that's what we need to figure out in that transition step.
Can I recommend one thing as well, Henrik? And obviously, everyone can shoot me down for it, but I just be very cautious. I think your biggest damage is going to be obviously when sieges happen at the start and people can't get on because of server issues and things like this. Much like at the start of release where people were building castles and people couldn't get on. Is there any way to restrict, obviously, actually being able to siege until the servers are settled? You'll clear out a lot of the problems then.
Yeah.
I have a question on the same line. How long does it take to destroy something? We're talking about not getting on because of a server issue. How long does it take to,
right.
Let's say there's an hour queue.
We did a
stronghold gone?
2 stronghold in 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
So this is the big thing, right? I mentioned the mechanic, the siege window mechanic earlier, and this is the key factor to your question, Nasori. It can take infinite if you have above 100% defense value, which means you will never start a siege. But as soon as you go under 100, that's when you can start causing damage, right? But it's not still effective to make a siege if it has 98% defense, right? Because you're shooting thousands of boulders. So you want to push them down quite hard. That's when you come to the speed that.
Follow up. So you're talking about the defense that the structures get when you hold towers nearby. Is that right?
Yeah. So towers, storehouse, and supply lines. Those are the buildings, the three types. Obviously, if you're not a keep owner, you don't have the supply lines, but you have storehouse and you have towers. And as soon as you build one of these or capture one of these, you gain an instant percentage on the defense, and then it ticks up. It should be 30 minutes, a percentage every 30 minutes. So that means you slowly build up your defense value, and when it gets destroyed, you instantly lose 1%, and then it ticks down 1% every hour. So in that way, you can start calculating a little bit like, okay, I have a headroom of X amount of hours before they can cause serious damage, for instance.
Okay, so basically, because I remember you mentioning on stream a little while ago, when you lose it, you're not immediately vulnerable. So basically, you take the towers to build up your defensive, but it sounds like if it's 1% every hour, then that's 24% every day. So is your place vulnerable after 1 day? Is it? How long does it take to build back up? Is it? Because I haven't done these things yet. So should people be worried? Like, how active do you need to be to prevent what Kuthar is really bringing up here? You can't get online and your place is about to get sieged down. Is that only preventable when hyper active in a place for, every day?
So a tower is 2.5 or 3%. I need to check the document, so I'm not saying the wrong value, but around there, right? So we added more towers, but the towers also meant to be a little bit like capture the flags. Those should be rather easily transferable between players. Quite easily to put them up, claim them, and quite easily also to take them down and claim them for yourself. The storehouse is obviously a more robust defense building that takes a more commitment to destroy, and it also holds up to, again, the numbers around 14% in that building. So it's a lot more valuable in defense value compared to towers. And supply lines are around 10 or so, a little bit less. So that means you can calculate a little bit. If you hold a storehouse, you're getting that maximum of 14 additional defense value, or if it was 15, again, I have to check the numbers. And they tick up twice as fast as they tick down if it lost.
Up to what percent though?
The storehouse should be 14% additional bonus. I need to find that document as well, so because we had some of those numbers lately changed in the latest PTR. And
so you're saying that would put you up to 114% or 14%?
So no, there's also default defense value on all the buildings. So this is what you add on top of that. So storehouse is 15%, and tower is 3% in latest build. Base stone defense is 80%, and wood is 50%. So if you have nothing and you have stone buildings, that means you're at 80% defense value.
So strongholds are stone? Is that 80%?
Yes.
So strongholds start at 80%, and then houses start at, what did you say?
Storehouse gives you up to 15% additional. And then you have the
when
towers.
When you say storehouse, he was just asking about like sieging a house down. Is that what we're talking about?
That's I asked what the default value of just a normal tier 1 or tier 2 houses.
80%.
80%.
Yeah.
And that's the same as a stronghold?
So, yeah.
Yep.
And that changes if you put a guildstone in it, right?
The defense value is the same, and anyone can build a storehouse. So that's a new TC building that gives additional defense above the 80%.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So the one that you guys tested on, you said it took a half hour. That obviously was probably a standard, I would assume. So it was an 80%.
That was without.
One?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So how much longer does it take when you have that 100 and 15% instead of 80, is it just like twice as long, or
No.
is it?
No, from what
You can't.
Henrik was saying, like you can't
Yeah,
siege
you
it down
can't.
until the
You can't,
storehouse
okay.
is gone.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as soon as you're above 100%, you can pretty much calculate. If you push, for instance, push it up to 120%, that means it's 1% every hour, right? So that means 20 hours until you're under 100%, as an example.
And then you can be
Mhm.
sieged.
Yeah, then you take damage.
I get it.
But like I said, also the billings goes with 1% also. So if one tower, for instance, if you have managed to get the 3%, you get the 3% bonus. If someone destroyed that tower from you, you lose 1% instantly, along with the tower going down, and then the 2% left ticks in 2 hours. So it takes 2 hours to lose all the defense boost from one tower, for instance. If that makes sense.
So you'd need a storehouse plus a few towers to be over 100.
Yeah.
So good for players to know that if they're in a smaller group or guild, that
Right.
if they stay active, they can keep their places safe from the larger forces out there that are looking to rampage.
Yeah. And this is our, we had this discussion, should we have timers that at this hour next day, that's when the siege starts, and then after that, it ends. We were never very fond of that kind of solution. That's why we wanted to do more dynamic, that fits more a little bit more. But this still means, right, that you can go above 100%, and that means you can't be sieged. So it's kind of like a little siege window there, you would say.
But you have to hold towers for that, right? Because nobody's going to siege your storehouse down. They're just going to siege the towers that can be taken down in 30 seconds. Right?
Yeah, towers are, we have quite a few. How many do we have now? About 80 something. We added 20 new towers in the latest patch, spread out again throughout the entire mainland. So again, obviously there will most likely be a lot of conflicts around these towers, and they are quite easily obtainable, right? So, and that would quickly give you the transfer of defense values.
So at least for strongholds and houses, which is what the majority of the people in the game have, your siege timer is definitely not 24 hours, because they're going to let you keep you're going to have your stronghold or your house, you're going to have your storehouse, whatever, that gives you 15%, gets you to 95. Say you have 3 towers, which puts you over 100. They just siege 1 or 2 towers, it takes 10 minutes, and then the timer is already below 100 pretty much, right? So
yeah.
then that's no timer. Am I hearing that right? Because that's how the math. I might be dumb. I don't know.
I mean,
but that's how the math just worked in my head.
Yeah, as soon as you go,
storehouses are pretty much
right. As soon as you go
useless.
under 100% defense, that's when you start taking 1 damage.
Right. So people aren't going to be destroying storehouses. That's just like a booster to get you to towers. So you want to hold 1 billion towers if you want any sort of defense at all.
Yeah, a few towers obviously will give you additional bonuses, and like I said, there's quite a few and spread out. So as soon as you take them, you can quickly take new ones, right? If you see that shit, we're under attack, we need to build up defense value quickly. You could focus
and that
on.
is an interesting strategy. Yeah, that is an interesting.
Could focus on that.
That is interesting. Yeah.
I might have a slightly different opinion. Some of you guys like Nazori and Shadow on this, and maybe even Lourdes, but I mean, houses and strongholds probably killed PvP in this game more than any other thing that has been released, because there was no obviously way to take them down at the time. There was no way to get inside of them. So I think being able to knock the doors down quickly enough and actually be able to siege some of these things is huge, and it's a massive step in the right direction.
I
think
agree with
doors
you
should be
hard.
I think doors should be siegeable at all times, 100%.
I mean, I found
Hard.
it kind of ridiculous. There was like some rhetoric going on in Mortal General that you're removing content from solo with the upcoming patch by not allowing like equerries, not allowing priests. I think as a hardcore sandbox game, that option should have never existed in the first. That it did. People are probably going to be angry about this, but if you're solo, you should be playing out of Cran, GK, or Tau, probably. Like, it's not supposed to be an easy game. And the amount of times PvP is denied by just someone running the house and closing the door is insane. It's pretty boring if you're playing like 24/7.
The Red Towns are dead, right? Compared to Emma 1. Emma 1, the Red Towns, they had people in them, the solo guys, for people fighting over time, Droll Tor, Tranesh. Red Towns now are dead. Everyone's sitting in a stronghold like Levin a pet AFK.
I would say I agree and disagree. I think it'd be good if you could break a door down just for the factor of PvP, but I don't see a problem with people putting equerries and stuff like that in places that they live, right? Because you have if you want to play somewhere else, it enables people to spread out around the map, right? There's not towns everywhere, so it's like only being able to like play out of Bhakti if you want to play in the jungle is kind of it's not really viable,
Yeah.
right?
I kind of
Equerries-
agree on
equerries-
it
to
as
anywhere.
I kind of agree on it if there was like a large circle around big points of interest in dungeons where you couldn't place anything. Because at the minute you've got
I agree on
strongholds
that as well.
sitting on dungeons where people can infinitely respawn, and every dungeon pretty much has only got one exit. Like every dungeon's camped, and
Yeah, what is
your
odd
solo
about
players
that?
don't really get any access to them.
And what is odd about that is like there are whole sections of the map like around Spider Valley where you cannot build anything because it's like dungeon territory. Like that area should just be like a pretty wide radius around every major dungeon in the game. I think everyone agrees on that, but I don't. And also the door sieging, I think everyone wants that. Like literally, you really like it makes sense, but like having priests and equerries for solo players is just it's not UO. It's not a long time ago. I mean, we've all have to acknowledge at some point that you need to cater to solos and small. You have to cater a bit more to maybe the groups that are not as hardcore for your game to have some success. Like it just
Isn't that what the towns are for?
no,
but
I
it
don't think
doesn't
so. Because
always-
people don't want to
yeah.
do that. People want to go make their
yeah.
own thing. People don't want to live out of an NPC town. Everyone wants to be in. Everyone wants to do their own thing.
They don't want to be. They don't want to be an NPC. They want to be able to
They
play the
don't,
game
yeah.
in a smaller scale, right?
And that's just what people want. And it's been really clear with the changes we made. Like people have liked that. Like
People
it's-
love putting their houses places.
Yeah,
good.
they do. They love putting their own little thing down. I do think doors should 100% be siegeable, though. It's so irritating.
I don't think that hurts anything. It just creates more potential excitement. Not ending a fight when someone closes a door. I mean, it really is just like the door closes and elementalism comes out. You try for a few minutes and then you're like, oh, we can't kill him. And then you walk off and it's just kind of a stalemate and boring.
I mean,
So-
for me,
Yeah,
it's
that's kinda
anything
what I
that
mean.
promotes the old school roams and stuff more. Like pre houses and strongholds, you had people roaming all over the place. You had these new guilds roaming all over the place trying to.
I would say
get
it's far
PvP.
more active now. I disagree. I don't know.
Everyone we get close to runs into a stronghold and shuts the door.
Oh,
until they've got enough
maybe you
people
get
to
some of that, but
encounter
you're
you.
also, I would say, I think we have different perspectives because you're usually in a bigger group and you're looking for a big group to fight, and so like catching one or two out isn't really the fight for you. But I guess when I'm roaming around, it's more 3 to 7 people or something. So getting a couple people is fun for us, right? So I think it's just different perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, these have always been one of the big challenges as well, right? Balance and different opinions and such. And, the game consists of very different types of players, right? Heavy PvP focus, small groups, large groups, Zergs. So obviously it's always going to be one of those. There's plenty of those areas, right? Where it's a big challenge to obviously make everyone happy and everyone won't agree.
This patch... Yeah, I think this patch takes care of a lot of what the troubles Kuthara had, right? Because it would be frustrating when you have a group that you wanna get action and there's not always something for you to fight, right? People just jump into strongholds and hide, but with TC you're gonna be able to force some action, right? So
another thing about being able to
help a
siege
lot.
down doors, it would, and people have commented a few times in chat about this, like, I'm sorry, but Nightfall is not finding a solo player and sieging down their door. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. Like, it's more for like other kinds of content. It's like, I know people are panicking in chat with door sieging, but like my guild even, we're not sieging down solo. I don't know like any large Zergs who are going to siege down random ungilded solo doors. It's just
but what does that really mean? You're just getting inside and then they're going to rebuild the door later, right?
Well, not only that, what I was just getting at, it means nothing because there's a 10-second lockout timer. So
Well, you would probably
you know what I mean?
you'd probably stop that, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's another
really
question. That's where I
depends.
was going with this. Is the logout timers and TC? Like, can you just
I
log
think
out if the
logout
building
timers
is
need
getting
some
hit?
serious work. Like,
Right, that's what I was getting at right now. Like, we have people log out on us more than anything. Like, all the time they run into buildings and just log out. Like, and that's just a weird thing that I was gonna ask about.
Definitely probably shouldn't be able to log in someone else's house that isn't like guild related at all. If you can just run into
Yep.
a random house and log, I think that's a bit ridiculous. Same with GK and Cran shouldn't really not have 10-second logout timers, in my opinion, because it kills a lot of the PvP
Yeah,
there.
I agree.
I agree as well. Yeah, these logout timers are weird.
I mean, people saying, "Oh, all you want is PvP," but this game has a lot of downtime. Someone who plays it a lot, there's a lot of downtime where you're not doing anything. So for the specific people who are like, "Oh, you want to kill people 24/7?" No, you just want the option that if you actually find someone, they can't just deny you immediately by logging off or closing a door. You know?
Yeah, we are looking to do some work on the logout timers. Obviously, there's been quite a few of those reports when people log out in battles and so on, and we're gonna refine that a little bit to make it better.
Also, like deleting gear too is really frustrating when you catch someone and they
That
just
is
delete all their
horrible.
gear.
Oh,
It's I can't the amount of yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
has that been in discussion at all, Henrik?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's quite silly that you can destroy your steel gear or whatever that may be, right, in your pocket while you're running towards death. So there's a few things here. There's a system where you can drop things on the floor. We haven't really got to that yet, but the plan is that we will get to it eventually, soon, hopefully. But we need a robust system that can handle rules and a system in place for what you can throw on the ground and how to throw it on ground, so we don't clean up session in Ultima Line, if you remember, when people just throw out shit everywhere and start lagging, right? Obviously we don't want to sacrifice gaming experience, client performance and network performance by having crap all over the world. So it needs to be a proper system that can make sure that you can't just throw out insane amount of items. But as soon as we have the time to cover that system, we can also then make it that you could throw a bag on the ground if you want to, but you can't delete those items.
Have you?
That'd be good.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
No,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm good.
Oh, I was gonna say, have you considered the option of the someone deleting their stuff in their inventory if they happen to die in the next few minutes? The stuff is still on the body. Seen that in games prior where
Me too.
to prevent rage deleting, you basically the person will just start chucking stuff out of their inventory. But if they die if they're killed by a player in the next like 3 minutes, the stuff is still on the body, right? And that tends to work pretty well. It just kind of solves all problems, because you shouldn't be able to magically delete a stack of steel, right? That's doesn't make much sense. And dropping on the floor sounds nice too, but the solution that other games have taken with that seems cleaner and easier, because it's not really you don't really need an immersion, like an immersive piece for this bit. It's more of just a player trying to game the system, right?
Yeah.
To be salty, and it just prevents that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are some good options for this, and like you just suggested, that could be one that fits. So yeah, whenever we are in that system, I think we can improve it, because I agree, it's quite strange that you can just magically remove items, and it makes for a strange situation when you are actually fighting for something and all of a sudden that item is magically vanished, right? So but that's something we could improve, absolutely.
On a different note, and people have asked it a few times, will crawling hands be an illegal action this patch?
Yes.
Oh, amazing.
Okay.
Ooh,
Thank you.
That's a good change.
There you
Get
go.
out Divine.
I asked it.
There was a lot of chaos, right? I don't know if there's still
Yeah.
chaos.
It's every day in multiple towns, all the time,
every 5
constantly.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not very.
Our villages, our personal villages, are much safer than actual towns right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my life is under threat.
Speaking of safety in towns, and one thing I'd just like to bring up, and I know, Henrik, you've probably got a different version of what you want, but one of the most fun times I know my guys and me had was when towns were raidable. You could go into towns, you'd have like proper full-on wars, like fighting between the guards and the players and stuff. And obviously you can't do that at the moment. I understand you want a noob, safe zone, but Is there any plan to sort of bring some of that back with TC and allow some of the towns perhaps to be raidable again?
So we have one very big problem, and that is getting new players into the game, right? And we need to solve that situation. You can also see the absolute majority of bad reviews on Steam, for instance, is I jumped into the game, I got killed by 2 pros, and I rage quit. I mean, it's not a very good starting
But I get you,
experience.
but that's also what keeps a lot of people here. I remember MO1, I walked out of Fabadom and got my head chopped off, and it was when you could, your camera went to your head and it was rolling down the street. Like, I was sold, mate, and I've been here for
I mean,
12 years since.
you're old veteran hardcore, right? You have that old,
I wasn't at that point, but I was a brand new noob,
Yeah, but back then still, right? I mean, today if we just look at the majority, the thing is, right, the game still offers all of that, right? But we need to have like a transition where this is a new player, he's a little bit excited, he heard a little bit about the game, but he's clueless how to play it, right? And if they get a really bad experience the first hours, there's a low chance that they actually become a long-term player. But if they actually got to get introduced to the game in a nice way, they get interaction with a nice group of players that want to recruit him, all of a sudden all of that changes, right?
Is there not room for both, like in the streamer things? Well,
yeah, so this is the thing, right? So with the Epic Focus patch, one of the big important thing there is to make sure that new players, there should be new player introduction, all the new player zones where they start. They're meant to be safe, but what that mean, that never really means magical safe, that you cannot do certain things, but there needs to be room for them to start learning, making some mistakes, and head out there and be hungry for some real action, and learn that they can build up a little bit of value, they build up their character, and when they start losing and dying and losing these items, they understand that this is a game where you can quite easily replace gear. It doesn't matter if you lose it. It's not like Diablo WoW, where you have grind for a epic item and bam, you lost it and rage quit. So there's room for improvement to make sure that the new player experience is better and a little bit safer the first hours at least.
I understand. I know you've been going this direction for like a year now with MO2, and it's fine, but maybe a slight compromise. Can you please make guards killable? Like, I don't want to get into a town. I understand you don't want that, but I know you're going to expand guards, right? They're going to be more like, I went to Meduli for the first time in a long time because I'm not welcome there, right? And there were guards like in the desert, like around player houses, like 4 million feet out. And like, if that's going to be a thing, can I just kill them? Like, you know what I mean? Can you just allow me to? Can you put weaker guards? You know what I mean? Like, I understand.
Yeah.
It's fine. I understand. We need to cater to new players, so you don't want bad Steam reviews. I get it's a business. That's okay. But like, as guards get further out of towns, please don't make it to where like I'm going to die, dear God, when I see one, because that's what happens now, and it hurts my soul.
Yeah, there will be different layers of guard types where we mean that it should be high security, and then it should go out to low security. And low security should mean that, yes, obviously you could kill the guards. They are not supposed to be high security, right? So there will be that transition as well, going from high security to low security, eventually to no security at all, where there is no reporting at all. And that is also one of the big things, right, with Epic Games, to make sure that new player location are not meant to be high risk, high reward, where you go and try to find high value loot and mobs and players, because it's meant to be that transition for new players so they can get a fair chance before they actually get hungry to actually go out in the world. More risk, more reward. And that's also obviously where player interaction happens. It's up to the players if they want to kill or not. But we don't have any room for that today. And if a new player picked the wrong starting city, it's game over instantly. And obviously that's our responsibility to make sure that it shouldn't be a lottery if this player could become a player or not. We should cover that better at least.
I was going to mention, even as just a suggestion for the current, even if you didn't change anything about the towns, I feel like there should be more description on the starting towns for new players. Because personally, if I had started in like Toxai, I probably wouldn't have played the game. Like it's so far out of the way, and you know what I mean? I feel like when you go to choose your starter town, it should give you a good like almost like current up to date, right? Like Fabrinum, very populated city, a little dangerous route getting out of it or something, like tidbits of information to give the player like that's a bustling town, but maybe dangerous getting in and out of it. Omoki is like really quiet in the forest, stuff like that. I feel like there's not enough descriptions on those, and I don't know. I think I mentioned a long time ago, but small change, but I think it would do a lot for new players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's part of the new player experience focus we have during Epic Games. It's one of the big tasks, right? Making sure that Haven get a little bit of an update on Haven as well to refresh, to make sure we can improve that as well. We want to add that there's like a little bit of an adventure that feels like the new player. If I achieve and finish these things on Haven, I've done the big things and I can remain if I want to. But next step would be to actually want to go to Milan, right? And yeah, of course, any good information that gives the player better knowledge that this is a location I would like to be in, and also make sure that all the options they can choose between are good enough when it comes to. There may be some option where they can read that, okay, this goes quickly out to no high security. So if I wanna, tap into some PvP quickly nearby a new location, that could be an option for those. While some cities, capital cities for instance, may have a more robust security system and it slowly goes down. Even outside there are patrolling guards, so they also can, if they really fear they're bad PvPers, they want to try to get into the game first, maybe those options are for those players. So yeah, informing the players of those differences I think is important.
Maybe an aside from the random PvP stuff, but I was wondering actually, will elementalism do damage to TC structures on release tomorrow?
So
that's something that some people have been wondering.
So the elementalist spells that does blunt damage, that already do damage to siege machines and buildings. Okay. It should. We were working on making burn to also have an impact, but I'm not sure if that was fully finished. But so the elementalist spells exist of different damage types, as you've noticed, right? Yeah. And the blunt part does work already with TC.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. So it's the blunt spells like Boulder and things like that.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. Would burn only work on houses?
Or
work on stone structures?
The plan is that burn will also make damage, but I'm not sure if it's only going to work on wooden types or not at this point. That will make them a little bit more efficient against siege machines, right? Which is wooden, while the stone buildings are a little bit more sturdy against that type. We eventually also
ask if we're getting fire arrows.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, we're eventually getting fire arrows. Not tomorrow. We need more time to add that. But yeah, fire arrows would also obviously have that type of damage against siege machineries, wooden type stuff like that.
Interesting. Also, another question that you probably answered, and it's probably in the guide, but I'm always a little confused by taxes. It's within your influence, right? So anyone within your influence gets taxed, and as far as I can tell, it's a portion of upkeep, like a little portion of the upkeep goes to whoever owns the influence of the area.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything there, or
no?
Is that pretty much the length and breadth of it?
Yes. You take a portion of the, I don't know, capital taxes, or whatever we call it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. There were some major problems we run into when it comes to changing taxes. A lot of problematic things, and also it makes one part very tricky in terms of, if you know that you're paying the upkeep, this is the time frame you have for your buildings, if you're planning vacation or whatever in your real life, we need to make sure also that this is my time frame, so it doesn't get halved when you are on vacation. That would be quite bad, and then you come back after vacation, everything is gone. So that also needs to be accounted for, to make sure that you pay the upkeep, the taxes, this is the amount of time you get, and you can plan accordingly to that.
Brilliant. Also, while I'm on a roll here, Zip just asked for something really important. Visibility. Because in these huge fights, I know you've talked about this a lot. The tabards. There's new banners coming out, I believe you said. A few new banners coming out. Well, what does that mean? Do they just have a symbol on them? Are they coloured? And then there's the die system to come, isn't there?
Right. So obviously we hope that we will be able to have the die system and even the guild logo emblem design system in time for TC. Because of the obvious reason, right? Be able to identify each other is quite helpful in the chaos of these big fights. And obviously the sad part was that we couldn't finish it in time. We want to make sure that it works 100% and not halfway there. Everything we want to add in game, we want to be on a full level. We don't want to add anything half working anymore. But we did that. Some of you guys suggested if we could at least add a few banners with a few different colors. So we added those. So you will be able to get a few new color typed banners if you want to use those.
Okay, that's really good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, another important question that was brought up: will you be able to control cities on TC release?
No.
Okay.
You won't. Again, quite a few sensitive complications. It also ties a little bit with the big work we're doing with the Epic Game functions. So we need simply more time and see how that will fit together also. So that's
I have a question about taxes.
Yep.
Can the keep owners own the area? Can they raise taxes, causing your upkeep to be higher price?
No. So that's
just a set amount.
Yeah, it's a set amount, right? So that's why I commented on that. You need to know your upkeep before your buildings start to decay, and if he starts to cutting that in half when you're on vacation, that's problematic. So now we have a set max. This is the tax, right? And keep owners getting like half of that to their treasury based on people living in their influenced area of control.
Wait, they get half of your upkeep?
Yes.
Well, that's a lot of money.
That's more than I thought. Okay, it's actually worth owning a keep then.
They may want to have friendly neighbors, right, rather than killing them off. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I heard there was another tax system coming in. I think Seb or someone was talking about it, where you can have NPCs right in your towns. Basically, if you supplied your NPC with like 200 gold worth of supply and had like a 20% tax on your NPC, you would make 220 from that.
So we don't have anything of that now. Yeah, I mean, so again, I also said this a few times before. So this is the first pack of TC, right? Includes a hell of a system, quite complex, and the sieging and so on, right? But there's always also quite a lot of room for different and additional features and functions that we may want to add over time, like broker system, having vendors that have specific setups of sales that you want to, if you want to refine specific things you want to sell to people, and how that profits are being handled between the owners and buyers. So that's obviously something that we do want to expand on eventually, but it's not in this first pack of TC.
One of the things that's coming up a lot in I just see stream chat and a few of the discords as well is obviously there's been quite a lot of drama over the last few weeks with hackers and things like that. With TC coming up, obviously all of that means a lot more, and I know that you've taken a lot of steps to resolve a lot of this, Henrik, but how confident are you that you've put a stop to some of those things that have been getting used, and where are we currently?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of the things that is obviously extremely important, and there's nothing that makes us more upset when it comes to shit like that, obviously, because it ruins our hard work and it ruins experience for our players, right? So obviously that's always a high priority thing, and we also have specific staff members that are specializing only in this field, monitoring the game and so on, and trying to always stay ahead when it comes to discovering new abuses, cheat hacks, or whatever that may be. And every now and then, obviously, this is also sensitive information in many ways, but we want to make sure that people understand that we will never, obviously, tolerate any of this, and we will always have to continue to commit resources and development in this. Every now and then, we do big raids against this crap, and that also makes those cheaters quite upset, and often they want to try to spread things to make sure that they get their revenge back. Stupid things like that. It's stuff that happens every now and then, and not only in Mortal Online. Obviously, it's always a challenge for all online games. So yeah, and we always appreciate that the community help us, giving us information. This was spread and this was said and this is done. And we always take that and confirm that is this something we already are working on or keep track of or handle and such. And so yeah, there's been recent things, right, that have been posted, and we are fully aware. And I believe that our developers are in control over that, and we have taken a lot of action already.
It's really good to hear, because I think going back to MO1,
Yeah.
90% of Keep Sieges had somebody DOSing the servers, exploiting, cheating in some way or form. And I think the problem is when you feel cheated out of something, you lose entire communities because of that. And that obviously happened a lot in MO1, where entire communities just left after something like that.
Yeah.
So, with TC coming out and a lot of stuff on stake, there's only one chance to do this.
Yeah. So that's why we are investing a lot in this as well. Sadly, it always steals a little bit from development, but it's necessary, right? And we also are expanding on the backend system that I mentioned a little bit before. That's also going to help GMs, their tools, their functions, and also obviously be able to assist players better when it comes to complications in different forms. So yeah, absolutely, that's something that's always on the side of the normal game development.
Something someone just brought up in chat and is super important actually, considering TC. Do you know if and when Alliance chat will be added? Because I know if you do /A right now, it pops up in the
It's
game.
there,
It's
but
been a little tempter.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Do you have any news on that? Because I think a lot of people have been waiting.
Yeah. We obviously we didn't make it in time, right, for TC, sadly.
No problem.
But obviously it's something we want to add. We have preparation for it, and we have pretty good control of it's a good system built on a separate server, so we have good control over it. We're also expanding on that along with the backend system to have better control over all our chat and communication in the game. So I would say it's just a matter of time where it fits. We should be able to enable that function finally. Nice feature as well, obviously, for guilds along with allies, right?
Sounds good.
So yeah.
So, something else regarding this patch. So we've heard about TC. Also, we got POIs coming in. Someone asked about that. But there's more than that in this patch, right? We have I saw a bunch of elementalism spells, right?
Right. We have two groups. I always forget about the names. Someone knows them. Two groups. So we're only missing one final group after this patch, which is entities. So it's like the volume-based and wall-based groups in this patch. So yeah, elementalism is almost getting finished already. And emanation and arrangement are the two groups, right? Yeah. Very fancy names, tricky pronunciations. But yeah, so we're getting those, and entities is the final group for elementalism. So it's a hell of a school, quite large.
Pets. I heard pets. What pets are we getting?
Not yet. It's the only thing that we don't have yet is the elementalism.
Right.
Pets.
No, but what
entities.
pets are we gonna? What are they gonna be? I heard it's not gonna be like MO1.
No.
So do you know or?
Yes. So in MO1, they behave pretty much like any other pets, right? And we don't want these entities to be the same thing. So they're going to work quite differently. And I think it's going to be more interesting, also unique, specifically for the elementalists. So in short, it is all the elements, and you summon these familiar or familiar elemental
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and
a water spirit or a fire, whatever. Yeah.
so there's two options to have it. You can't just tell a fire element to walk or attack. You actually summon it on you, so it's surrounding your body, or it's like a orb over your shoulder and it follows you, and it have different types of bonuses and effect that assist you as a player. But you could also send this to your friend or foes, and it will do obviously a little bit different things when they are on a target. So they're not the classic pets that run around and behave as our current pets.
Interesting. That is very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
People have asked 400 times in chat, are you going to add double horse riding to undead stuff, like Campodon's horses, or undead stuff getting double riders?
Yeah, we want to add that as well. So again, it's mostly about manpower in animation field, right? So we have a lot, obviously, we want to add over time. We have all the different creatures and animals still that you can't mount, that you will be able to mount. We have obviously Lycators as one of those cool new mounts that people want as well. And yeah, you will be able to have multiple persons on some of these big creatures where it makes sense. You won't be able to have 2 players on a wolf, for instance. It needs to be like a horse or larger. Yeah.
Follow the same rules, just to undead stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of manpower there, I was saying, where it fits, where we can bring a new pack of additional of those.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't really know what else I would like to ask about TC. I don't know if other people in chat have a good idea. But I have been getting a lot of questions about, to relay to you, Henrik, about balance. And I don't want to go too heavily into it, but I'm guessing the stance is you're not going to touch balance till after TC's settled a bit. I'm guessing, right? Right.
So obviously TC, we don't want to add things that makes it more riskful. We don't want to obviously push our schedule forward and delay additionally or risk stability. So TC have been number one, right? And we want to deliver that as safely, as good as possible, and then we can move on the next step. Because again, we're only so many developers, and the more features, functions, balance things we add to the table, the more risk there is that's something gonna suffer, right? Hopefully when we expand, we can cover a little bit more simultaneously, but that's something that we learned also, trying to find a balance where that this is the amount of task we can add to the team, and the more we add on top of that, we're gonna see something gonna suffer, right? So that is why we don't dare to step into some of those things that are extremely sensitive to many players, right? We need to be able to focus and know that these things we're doing now or changing or updating needs to be in a controlled manner, and also obviously move in the right direction. We did a lot of back and forth in the first game, and that turned out pretty bad over time. That it's not great for players that adapt or master something, and then we go back and forth in that field and ripping players off.
I think the answer to that, though, is generally to, not nerf things into the ground, rather start on some sort of level playing field and buff as necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you did mention specifically weak spot issue, that simply something wasn't working correctly.
Right.
Is that going to be fixed soon?
So yeah, I noticed that a lot of the feedback is not doesn't seem to be following the actual design or intended design behind some of those functions. So the first step would be to make sure and investigate why is that result happening when it shouldn't really be happening. For instance, that I mentioned when it comes to daggers, you're supposed to be able to build a heavy, robust dagger that is quite reliable on decent damage, but then you're also sacrificing some of the weak spot abilities on that. So that's the general design behind daggers. But to my knowledge, what people are sending us is that, no, you just make a dagger that has both. You don't have to go one or other. That is the intended game design. So it does seem that it is off, and we need to see why is it off, and what can be done to get that under control.
Fair enough.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Yes. let's see. So maybe it's time to start signing up for our Nvidia giveaway. Because yeah, I try to keep the streams not too long, and obviously, I'm not sure how long everyone are being able to participate and such. So let me just start the sign up for the giveaway at least, so we can slowly get that going. If I can move over to this one. So let's do explanation mark TC, because it's all about TC today, right? So explanation mark TC. Not MO2 yet. That's the game giveaway. Now we're doing TC.
What are you looking forward to with TC, Henrik? I mean, you must have been waiting for it more than anyone, to be honest, right?
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, I was working a lot on TC a long time ago, because as we mentioned to the community, the plan was to have TC very early on release phase. But as we all noticed, we had to put that all on hold. And then also, we wanted to make sure that now when we actually are working on the network and major issues that doesn't support the TC we want to deliver, we're taking the opportunity to refine and expand on some of the things that we initially didn't plan to include in the first pack of TC. So we made a good plan that have the big base of TC, and along with the network being worked on in the background. Because like I mentioned, I know some people have been mad at me for stating that TC gonna be out early on release, and that was the intended plan. But I also think that if anyone that just take a little look and think for a moment that if we have the network capacity issues, that means there can be one siege happening only, then everyone else will suffer, and you can't log in to defend your base. I'm sure we will get more hell and crap if that was the case with TC, rather than try to take our time, solve those bottlenecks on the network, and also make sure that TC is even better when released. So obviously it's been a long time, and obviously we all feel the pressure that obviously we're getting there, right? And we got a lot of help from the community, so when it comes to testing it and getting good feedback and balance, so we feel obviously more confident that with your help we also should have a much more polished patch along with the PTRs. So I think that's been brilliant, really good, and of course very good suggestion from the community to have this PTR, and now we have it up and running. We're gonna continue obviously on that road. So I'm just, the whole general system is very exciting, and just following the entire player base, how they experience it. We got a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people enjoy the siege and have had a blast. So hopefully, obviously, it will most likely just be on an even grander scale live, right? Because now everyone gonna participate, because there's obviously a lot of people that don't have time, don't have interest in playing on a test server. That's all understandable. So I wouldn't be able to pick something. I will love to be able to participate in battles again, because I got a really nice experience in our last PTRs. I felt that shit. I've been missing this. I want more of this. The only problem for me, obviously, personally, is how the hell can I participate in this without people think that I'm helping one side to win, even though I'm not a factor.
You gotta go
Hidden
undercover.
Sorry?
No, what I was gonna say earlier, I got a lot of good feedback and heard a lot of good things about people watching you actually play the game. I think people want to see you actually stream and play the game.
Yeah, I mean,
like everyone I heard was like, "Oh my gosh, that was actually cool." And when you were like, "Hey, should we fix this? Can you fall through this?" and then you fell, everyone was like, everyone felt you. We felt like, "Oh my gosh, he's one of us."
That was really good actually, and instant communication on that mechanic. That's actually really good, yeah. And I'm up for that, and I enjoy that. So let's see if we can get more of that. The only thing I want to make sure is that players should never think that any corruption can happen. That should never obviously be even a question or a concern, because again, this is my personal baby in life, work, and I will never ever, you know, sacrifice anything for anything. Obviously, I want to be able to play it and enjoy it just as much as you guys, but I always have to understand that I have the limitation of, you know, I'm a non-factor when it comes to fighting, right? So it's not that I'm helping one side to beat the enemies, most likely. I'm not that good, and since I haven't been refreshing my combat skills at all the latest several months, I'm very rusty. So but I still would like to participate and enjoy some of these epic battles because I love it.
I think a lot of people would enjoy watching that.
Yeah, I would be down. So I mean, I have a few characters, right? I'm playing on every now and then, and I could always join in on the, how do we call it, the side that is a little bit, you know,
The underdog.
underdogs, exactly.
That's it.
And no sort of tears.
No, of course.
Lourdes, I saw what happened to Lourdes, and I'm scared.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah, I got outskilled. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That's what we all saw.
It was so fun. There's a shot of this, right, when there's this guy, I don't remember who he was, but he was challenging me, right? There was this big circle around me, and all I needed was one hit, and everyone was, come on, Henrik, get him once. And then finally I got him. Everyone was jumping like crazy, man, and yelling. It was so fun. So yeah.
Well, that actually reminds me, are you going to do, because you know on MO1, like I had some of those unique swords, you know? Are we going to have that again in MO2? A lot of people want GM events with unique stuff.
Right. So the relic system is one of the systems we're going to present a little bit more in detail, write everything about it. So I talked about the community interaction before, right? So what we're going to do is, the relic is one of them. And what that means is there's meteors falling from the sky. Everyone can see them at the same time, and everyone can run to that location, cross Milan. It's a really cool system. And when it falls, it's like burning hot. So you can't touch it until a certain amount of time has passed. So obviously that means, you know, people may show up and there may be conflicts. And it's going to be everything from specific relics to wearable items, such as the Sword of Tears. Obviously the Sword of Tears is going to look refined, unique, and have a little bit better balance this time around compared to what I was.
Similar to like...
Yeah, it's going to be a powerful item, right? And it's going to have specific rules. You will not be able to bank it. You will not be able to log out with it. So it will always be in-game. You have to drop it or pass it along to someone else or put it in this very specific relic building that holds it. But that also means everyone can see it, they know it's there, and they can see it and try to steal it at any time. So it's a really cool system, and I'm looking forward to that system also. It's going to be exciting to have relic wars going on.
When can we expect that?
So pretty soon, getting a little bit more breathing room actually when it comes to collecting the community interaction phase, or whatever we call it. And what I mean with that is that we're picking out a few features within various areas of the game, such as combat. Relic War is one of them, and it's actually attached to TC, RP elements. So a few groups, right? So there's something for all styles. And then we're going to try to present those on the forums with some information, what it means, summarize of the systems. And then we're going to allow the community to jump in, interact with this, vote on them. We can discuss them. And hopefully, with your help, we will be able to see a clear pattern that these are the features most of the players want first. So that's how we're going to build the next roadmap. So you're going to help us build the upcoming roadmaps. So if Relic Wars, for instance, is one of those that a lot of people are looking forward to, we're going to prioritize that early on that upcoming roadmap and create the entire roadmap based on the community feedback interaction. So that's the when, right? Where people vote for Relic Wars, if it's going to be early on or mid or late. We're also going to try to make it clear that obviously some features are faster and easier than others. So we're going to try to write all that information that this is something that's going to take this amount of time, very roughly. So, together we try to build that upcoming roadmap.
And bounty hunting is like on that list, right?
Yeah, bounty hunting is one of the very few that aren't finalized at all, because of it was a little bit of an experiment. We weren't sure it actually gonna work as a system in this type of game, but now when we see it actually works, people are interested in it, and people are doing bounties every now and then. But there are these obvious issues, right? The downtime when you can pull them, and the distance, and no reward. Those major things we have covered in design. That these are the things we want to add next to kind of make bounty hunting more as a fully fledged system and enjoyable.
Even just quickly, a limit to like range, and if someone logs off, being able to instantly get a new bounty
Yeah.
are two things that would really like
Yeah.
make it a loop you could do without pain.
Yeah,
Watching poor Lourdes struggle, ride 4 million hours across the jungle, and then
Yeah.
his bounty logs off in a stronghold, and he cries, and I cry too. It's
Yeah,
sad,
it's understandable. We have watched a lot of bounty hunting, and there are some of those that obviously will be changed, so it's much more enjoyable, and so that you can actually do it also all the time. You don't have that kind of downtime when that happens. So yeah,
It's super fun to watch. It just that happens.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's a really fun in-game system. It's just it can be frustrating, especially it's again with the houses everywhere if someone's in a house, but it's a small part of the game, so it's not a huge focus, I can imagine.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a few things just like that. It's quite easy to add, and it instantly makes bounty hunting much more enjoyable. So I think that will fit, in the upcoming roadmap without too much development time also.
One little thing I've been asked about is things like hidden stats, like weak spot chance and things like that. Will that ever be more visible on our character screens? Just to know what's actually making an effect to our character, because there seems to be a lot of little things. I guess that's part of the mystery of the game, like knowing which handle material.
So there are pros and cons when it comes to this. So Mortal Online have always been quite unique when it comes to mystery discovery, knowledge is power, and so on. And obviously we want to stay true to that nature, and that's something a lot of people like and enjoy. But there's also a side where some things just becomes, either common knowledge or you have to Google it. And if that's the case, we may as well add it and present it in a nice way in a game, so new players just doesn't have to be told go to Google or do this or that. So that's not really good for the game, right? If new players get to experience that you get that kind of information in a different way. And that's also why we decided to commit a little bit more to the world map, even though we plan to have map making eventually as a skill, character profession. But we also see where there are quite a lot of room for nice information on the map. It's helpful for new players, it's helpful for veterans to plan things and see interactions, promote conflicts or different types of interaction that just makes the game more interesting. You can see things going on, new players, holy shit, what the hell is going on here? Here's a nation that is so large in the world, that's impressive, I want to join them, or whatever. All that kind of information, interaction that players get presented is always good for the game. So there's this line where we try to find a balance, right? Where it makes sense to have mystery, knowledge, power, but also where it makes sense to, for instance, maybe this is one of those cases. Maybe we need to add, here is the weak spot chance, this is how it affects, and we display it on the items so people,
I think, I've just noticed a lot of people, like, obviously in endgame, Dagger's probably the best weapon in the game by a while, Dagger Vila. But when you talk to a lot of the populace, they're like, Daggers, they're not that strong. I use mine. I don't do that much damage, just because they don't understand how to optimize the weak spot percentage, things like that. So it leads to a lot of confusion between the two camps that then they never agree on anything, But yeah.
That's a weird question, because like coming from ML1 and like personally, like I hate that there's even recipes on anything, because that was a really cool thing in ML1. If you wanted this cool thing, you had to go to someone who knew it, because it didn't tell you what the ingredients were of a food, of anything, literally of armor. You didn't know what it was made out of, just nothing. I personally liked that. But like, I think maybe a more middle ground would be like explanations on like you get your lore to 100 of steel. You should be able to see as a crafter what the percentage is, maybe. of weak spot it would give as a handle. Does that
Mm.
make sense? Yeah, and it wouldn't
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, personally, I would like it to not show on the weapon, but that's
Yeah.
me. But like, you know what I mean? Like actual like explanations, if that is your area of expertise. Obviously, that would get leaked, but at least that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, that's also one of those, sometimes it's also a question of kill your darlings, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you experiment a lot with a recipe and you manage to do something optimal, then obviously we see the value of having that knowledge within your group or yourself. And if someone steal that item, if everything is displayed so they can recreate it in 1 second, then obviously they have stolen all that hard research from that person. And there's a interesting thing about obviously having that secret knowledge power, and you can trade recipes or even give intel and so on. So I do think there's some room for having the option to disguise some of your outcome when it comes to some of those things, and it's player knowledge. But again, it's a tricky line where we make that happen.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I do think more knowledge like should be explained. Like I think what Lourdes is really saying is that like we don't know anything. You know what I mean? And it would make sense like for some things, like even just types of wood or types of material to like give you stats. Maybe even if it isn't the end product, you know? Because like he's right, we do have arguments about, not us, but like arguments about certain recipes because we don't actually know.
Mm.
Yeah, I think a lot of that knowledge being hidden is fine. It's just some of these mechanics, which are really important, just need a bit better explanation. I couldn't list them all off for you now, but it's just one of them where people get very confused by it if they're a bit newer to the game and they don't really understand where everyone else is coming from. Weak spot's just the easiest example, I feel like. Same with
Yeah.
trinkets, how strong trinkets can be,
Yes.
etc.
Not really explained. Those things just aren't really explained. You have to find a person to do it.
Mm.
Also, about trinkets, I believe you mentioned after TC that the higher tier trinkets might be dropping more, because obviously there's a huge gap from Amethyst to Topaz. Even though Topaz is only number 3, no one sees Adamants. Barely, only a few of the top percent of players see Rubas.
Yeah.
Is that still happening? Is there going to be a change so that more trinkets are dropping, or
So
with that?
So yeah, there's a few things in how we can do this as well. Currently, we start out that the type of trinkets, the gem type is extremely rare when it goes up a tier, right? So it goes very, very quickly, much more rare when you go up a tier. And we add more frequency in terms of drops. So you can, we see the Outlaws, for instance, is one of those cases where you see more frequent drops on those types of trinkets, which also obviously increases the chance of getting a good gem on top of those trinkets. With this update tomorrow, we see additional layer on trinkets types, for instance. So we're gonna evaluate the feedback and data after a few weeks or even months, based on how player, what they find and what they think. Yeah. The other factor is that we could also go in and change one part, which is, as I mentioned, the gem drop on a trinket goes extremely rare quickly. It could be that it's a little bit too steep, so that you can get a little bit higher drop chance on high gems on those trinkets that can have them. But that would be the next step if we still think that is the case, because that also means we need to maybe lower the drop ratio, because when you do drop, you will have them at a higher rate. So, but I think it's more exciting and fun to actually get more trinket drops, and the higher gem is still more rare. So there's still a big flow of trying to find these trinkets.
Yeah.
So that's the first approach we're heading at.
I think
I feel
another.
like,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
was just gonna
please.
say on the topic is, I feel like it is odd that you're going. It's odd that you have Amethyst where your jewelry is like 50, like even a half decent piece is like 50, 100 gold, 200 gold. And then the next step up is 5,000, right? It's just like
Yeah,
a
it's kinda
massive
weird.
jump.
Yeah.
And it's also odd and almost difficult for new players to really grasp that. And I found it super weird when I was learning about jewelry when it came out. It's like you want a silver piece, right? Silver can go all the way up to a ruber. And then you don't really want gold because it's just more expensive to polish. So it's almost like higher tier jewelry is less desirable, which is weird. And you can get better base stats on some of those, so they have different purposes. But like, it's kind of a weird system where sometimes the higher tier is almost worse.
I think one of the reasons we see that is that I believe there's only like 10 gold adamants in the game, honestly. I think there's so little of these higher tier trinkets. Like, obviously, the Ogmium and Skadeite ones have almost no value because you can't re-roll them. I think a lot of
is
the
that gonna get
problems.
fixed too? That's so weird.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problems stem to the flux and
Yep.
the fact that it's so hard to get flux drops. Flux costs around anywhere from 100 to 200 gold per roll, and if you're going for these, big damage stats, you end up spending thousands of gold before you get anything usable. So yeah, I think the whole system might need a little tinkering. But I'm obviously no dev, so I have no idea.
Someone brings up a good point also about trinkets is fed up having bags of crap trinkets. It's weird to and it's hard to grasp when you're newer. You're getting these trinkets that are copper cuprum coral, right? And you're just meant to drop them because they're literally worthless. Like they can't be worth any amount of money. It's a bit odd.
Even like
They need to
a
build
price.
in like the crafting system behind that, though. I mean, surely I don't know what you've used, Henrik, but
Just
isn't
to
there
get
meant to be a
something out of
crafting
it.
system so that you can then start using these gems that you find like mining and stuff like that to start creating some of these rings and necklaces?
Yeah, again, this is also the beginning of the trinkets, right? We have this one type right now. And yeah, I can agree that the steps may be a little bit skewed in terms of the cost. Obviously, the best trinkets are the highest tier, but the cost and value and get the types that you're looking for, lack of flux. Yeah, obviously those things makes the mid-tier or even low tier range the more optimal choice for a lot of players. So there's a few things, right, when it comes to flux drops that we're gonna look into. Possible the value when it comes to recharging to make that a little bit more scaled up properly. And jewel crafting is also a profession that we plan to add to the game that should also allow you to modify and possible access and use any trinkets, including the crap ones, in some type of way to further refine trinkets. And as I mentioned, we also have multiple types of trinkets coming later on, which is clade-inspired types of trinkets, which is completely different from the current one we have today. So yeah, over time, there's a lot of room for some polish, or I would say refinement on the values, and there will be a lot more options also over time.
I think one of the best updates you did to the whole thing was having those outlaw spawn that dropped those silver trinkets.
Yes, I agree.
Silver topaz and the silver rubers more regularly. Like that started to even the playing field a little bit and let pretty much anyone get them. Stuff like that, I think, an increase in that is huge.
Yeah.
It did. I still think there needs to be a low end. Like they said, the gem scaling just doesn't make any sense. Like a silver amethyst should be at least 25%, 50% as good as a silver ruber, which is only a step above, and it's like garbage 99% of the time, just garbage. It's like the difference between 11% damage and like 6 or something, or it's not even 6, it's like 3 or 4 depending on other stats. It's just the scaling's weird. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah,
to me at least.
Yeah, there is some room for some tweak, I think.
So this has been asked a million times in chat. On release, are you going to be able to loot things you siege?
So there's a what's it called, a rubble state on siege assets, right? Which means that is also a window for owners to try to save something. and during that time frame they can access it, and after that time frame anyone else can access it. So it all depends on that time window for players.
So you can loot buildings after the allotted time, after you've sieged something into rubble.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
What's
And
the
that
allotted time?
Changes
I
based
heard
on
what?
house and stronghold.
I heard it was 2
Was
days.
it 24 hours or 2 days?
Yeah, it should be around that. Again, I have to check the documents to see exactly, but that sounds about right.
And is it different for houses and strongholds and keeps, or is it all the same for
It's
everything?
the same on all of them.
Okay.
Do you get any of the
alright.
materials in that rubble pile? Like if you siege down a house, is there any sort of metal and stone and whatever from the house in that rubble pile?
No, and that's also code-wise one of those tricky things we try to cover in a good way. So there may be additional changes to this in future TC updates, where there may be things falling down that you can salvage to use again in building, but we couldn't make it in this time frame. It's a little bit more advanced than we would first think, because we rebuild a lot of the system to make sure that network side performance, obviously client performance also, is always number one, to make sure that it's enjoyable. That's the first step, right? So we need to take it in steps. So that is something we are looking at probably in upcoming TC patches.
Interesting. I think a lot of people are still wondering about the old weapon reforging after under half era. Is that ever going to become a thing?
You mean melting or
melting for like some? Yeah.
So when we built the new crafting system or refined crafting system for the first game, that was a problem in the first game. First of all, we didn't store specific data that allowed us to melt something or repair something, or even adjust pre-patch items. That was problematic, all those areas. This time around, we have built a system to support all of that. The only thing is that we haven't fully finished the systems that will utilize those functions. So we have all the data stored now, so we can actually do those things, which means we can adjust pre-patch items, we can allow melting and repairing, because we have the data that is necessary to do those things. But again, we haven't had time to implement those functions in the game. We never had them in the first game, and we need development time to add them this time around.
Well, we kind of did in the first game with the paddings, like the equipment paddings, where you could, like those worked really well and they were really cool. And I don't know why.
Yeah, you mean like the upgrades kind of thing?
How you could like have something. Yeah. So basically how it worked is you could have padding, you could use the combine window.
Yeah.
And combine, it was like a drop off something, and it would increase the durability or increase the damage a little bit or whatever.
Yeah. That works, but it's not the same as melting it down, getting those base resources, or knowing
that's a whole other system.
This is a chronite sword, you need chronite to repair it, stuff like that. We didn't have that kind of data to support that, and we couldn't access those old items either, so pre-patch was always pre-patch. But now we had the data at least, so at least the future is secure to access all of that, which is important.
A really good question just came up in chat about how you actually take a keep. So say you've destroyed it, put it to rubble, it's in its rubble state. Are you able to put a keep down straight away? Do you have to wait for the rubble state to finish? Do you know about that, or you'd have to go have a look?
I need to have a look, actually.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go grab a drink really quick. I'll be right back.
Henrik, one thing that came out of our sorry, Nazil. You're good. One of the things that came out of our testing was supply caps being extremely low.
Yeah.
The fact that you'll get through them very quickly, especially in guilds that have more than 20, 30 people. Is there any way to increase that, or do you plan on increasing that? Even if we have to potentially build something to, an upgrade on a bank or something.
So yeah, the supply cap is quite low initially, and I'm also trying to confirm actually if we manage to add upgrades to those, because that is the plan. We will allow it to increase that cap with specific upgrades, such as guild ranks. But no, that's not in the current build. So there's a few of those things that we will keep expanding on. And when it comes to the rubble questions, the timer is still there, right? So either way, you have to let the timer has its course before you can, you have the looting and then you can construct.
So will it be a second kind of fight at the end of that timer? Because it sounds like
Yes.
if you have to wait for the rubble and it's going to be 2 days or something, you're going to have to return to that spot to rebuild on it. And I guess wouldn't it be a free for all at that point?
Yeah, if it's gone, it's gone, right? So yeah.
Interesting.
So you could siege someone, and then a third party could come and place for keep,
Yes.
which I think is great.
It's just 2 fights. People keep
Interesting.
asking in chat again about priests and equerries, and I think if I remember correctly, nothing's changing initially on patch. Priests and
No.
equerries are not going away, and how that's going to be dealt with is going to be decided kind of later.
Yeah, we got a lot of obviously concern and feedback from the community, understandable for a few reasons. So we decided to let them be as they are, and when it's time to the transition to have them in the correct system, we will see what the new rules will be, like who can access the priests, and if we need cooldowns or those kind of balance numbers that we talked about. But yeah, they will remain as they are with TC patch for now.
I saw a good question came up earlier. Someone asking about, are there going to be any no man's lands? So the way it works is you have your keeps, and based on some sort of prominence, which is tied to activity, right? Your sphere of influence increases until it eventually, I guess, butts up against another sphere of influence from another keep, right? Are there any areas of the game that are going to be like free of influence where you don't get taxed or something like that?
I mean, keep owners have the unique option to grow infinitely, obviously depending on other influences that collide with them. And we have natural nation areas such as the Tynramic Empire, for instance, which also will be a security zone for the Epic patch, which I commented on earlier, where if a new player start to play in Tynram, there's high security in Tynram, and outside of Tynram there's low security, and then eventually no man's land pretty much, which means there are no influenced by the Tynramic Empire, which means you can't report murders or anything when you get killed out of these areas. So that's happening, but most likely there will be spaces on Myrland where there are no influence, depending on how keep owners collide and where it is in the world. So I would most likely think that will be plenty of areas where there are no real influence or area. Also inside nations influence or outside of them in no man's land. If you look at the map, how it's been during PTR, when people have been growing their keep areas and such, you can see how they will collide and how it leaves, quite a lot of space around and between in different ways where it's no man's land, pretty much.
I'm gonna grab a drink.
Okay.
Maybe it's time to roll.
Someone was saying the rubble looting didn't work on PTR. Was that just kind of a PTR feature? Was that confirmed that it's functional?
Yeah, we have worked on that and made sure it functioned.
Nice.
Sweet.
I guess we're getting close to the giveaway finally. I think we're getting close.
I could sign up, right?
Everyone can sign up.
Nice.
There's 1,000.
That's a humongous upgrade. So.
If any of us wins that, the chat.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah, you have 1 out of 1,000. So
It's just
That's
that would
pretty
be
good odds for a 4070.
poetic.
Did
Yeah.
you explain to
Pretty decent.
everyone also that they can't be brand new Twitch accounts or whatever bot
Yeah.
accounts kind of deal?
yeah, you can't create an account now and sign up. That will not be eligible for the win. It needs to be a older account. There should be rules, right, tied to where we have the announcements. So yeah,
To sign up, it's just !TC in chat.
yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
If that wasn't obvious. I saw
It
the
should-
question,
it
but I'm like,
bloody should
there's a
be.
lot of spam going on.
It really should be, but you never know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's increasing quite a bit again now. So the odds is going down a little bit.
Melting trinkets into flour. I saw that suggestion earlier. I don't know how the balance works out there.
It would really upset the Spiritists,
Yep.
rightfully, because they
Yeah.
farmed like a lot of gold to get that.
Mhm.
But I don't know. There does need to be a switch up there. It's just hard to say definitively. You know?
Yeah.
But there's more to the game than just trinkets. It's just they're really powerful in the game.
I'm
Seems-
hoping at some point soon we see a decrease. Well, as you start dropping, you said we're going to be getting higher tier trinkets this patch and ongoing. You're going to experiment with, more valuable things being dropped, like we had with Outlaws. So I think over time, if we're getting more of those rare trinkets, and I guess we're going to see how that plays out post TC here, I think the price is going to drop, right? It has to naturally. If there's more in circulation. So it might really kind of even out some of the concerns we had with all the trinket conversation stuff, right? Like, silver ruber will become more, or silver topaz especially would become more
I think if
frequent, common.
silver amethyst were buffed a little bit, topazes were like
Yes.
the baseline for end game activities. So if you get because you can get 20% damage off of 2 topazes. That's pretty insane.
That's nuts.
When you
Yeah.
actually-
22.
And that's about, for those who
22.
don't know, it's like somewhere 8 to 10K in jewelry at least.
Yeah,
More
that's
than that.
what one of them would be around 10k each.
Yeah.
If you're going for Pierce,
for a max roll, yeah.
if you're going for Pierce because Dagger is so dominated, it's 20k. For one.
But I mean, if you go Ruber, you get 20% on slashing and blunt.
Exactly, it just
Like
keeps
it
going up and
stacks
up.
up insane.
I mean, a max ruber roll right now is what, somewhere in like 100 range, isn't it?
Adamant
100K?
is, I think Ruber's probably.
That would be an
60.
adamant. Yeah, it's max Ruber is 60k, 45, 50k,
60?
or 11,
Okay.
11.
Yep.
But
And when you're talking about making a
still
game
crazy.
playable by new players that can come in, how does a new
that's it.
player achieve that?
No,
Yeah.
there's no
Really.
way. They find one.
And let's be realistic, how did most people
No
get their
way.
golds? It was through the flots and stuff like that. These mechanics are no longer in the game.
Oh no, I just
Well,
don't have
if
good
the-
stuff. I'm one of the noobs out there, in chat. By the way, chat who's been calling me out saying, "Oh, all these guys," I don't have any of these nice trinkets. The best trinket I've got is the silver topaz, and it's garbage, and I don't use it.
Our guild
I
found
feel all of
a
you.
silver
I
ruber
understand.
recently, so that was
Yeah,
nice.
and you're kicked, banned, and yeah.
the guy in my
Come back
guild
to the game.
has a gold adamant he bought from Kuthara's guild, and
Oh,
the stats on it are some of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. So whenever I look at his character, this game just isn't fair. It's not meant to be
Yeah.
fair. It really isn't.
No, it's not.
It's insane.
I think just having more stair stepped, like we're talking about, silver amethyst, like I said, should just get buffed a little bit. It should
well,
be.
it sounds
a
like
good
we're already
stair
on our way. We're already on our way there with this patch. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
we will
see, yeah.
monitor.
I'm really
see.
curious. I almost want to. I know you don't want to give anything away, but ever since the start, you mentioned something along the lines of we're expanding on this patch. We're getting something that's similar to Outlaws, a little expanded, and you said something secret in the jungle. I need to know what these things are, so I'm excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, there should be absolutely a lot more action going on spread out the Milan. We put quite a few of these specific dynamic behavior spawners with some interesting content in them. So and yeah, they're everywhere. So just exploring, hanging out in the world should absolutely give you these types of encounters sooner or later. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And like I said, we're gonna follow up on this, and we plan to add additional layers with the Epic Game patch as well. So this is one step forward in that area.
Very nice. Is it rolling time?
Is it time, people? Shall we do the Nvidia giveaway? If you just tune in, explanation mark TC, and I guess we'll roll it in a minute then.
Good luck.
Good luck.
So I have a 3070 Moon Bear, so it'll be a big upgrade.
3070, yeah, that's...
I have a 3070 as well, actually. It's a good one.
It's like, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good card.
There's someone in here. There's someone in the chat with like a 1060 or something that just want, you know, it's just...
we have a joke about one of my guildies that he's got the wooden PC. But if any of us wins it, we're going to... because it's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is if the entire computer is that old, then most likely the CPU will be a quite hard bottleneck.
It's CPU bound, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. We done
chat with the 970.
Danny, our magical guru when it comes to optimizing stuff, did some really good progress during the last PTR. A lot of people reported, right, these constantly free stutter. That is quite frustrating when you're running around. It also happened in this latest siege in the middle of when we run past and back and forth around the keep, which is very frustrating. Getting a 2-second freeze in mid-battle is really bad.
Yeah.
And he found all of that, fixed that, and then we also improved some additional things that are quite the difference also that will make it even more smooth. So the only, I would say, stuttering that is left is now when we load big biomes with a lot of foliage and such. And those are the classic level streaming that we talked about. Those are still there.
Lines.
Yeah, those are still there, but everything that you experienced in PTR that was new stutters, those should be good now. So that's going to be awesome to hear. If people
you had mentioned I was going to say, you mentioned a few streams ago that like you were going to do stuff to, because like you're right, I haven't seen the server cap in a while. And last TC, it wasn't like a server, well, whatever that hitching was server stuff, but like it wasn't like a server cap issue like we saw in the first year. And you mentioned though that there has been severe like FPS issues when we get into like 200, 300, 400 people. And I don't know, a few months ago, maybe even 6 months ago, you said you're going to like work on that. Has that been done? Like to maybe make FPS less taxing?
Yeah. So what people are experiencing now, obviously, when we fix this big starter that were new in PTR, but that we fixed again finally. The next step is the constant FPS when we have a lot of people on Magic and all kind of stuff on the screen, right? We all suffer from some FPS loss. A lot of the artists are already working in Unreal 5 and doing a lot of work when it comes to the world background costs. Cities and biomes are being optimized. We're also doing some beautify paths when it comes to preparing it for nanites and lumens. But yeah, absolutely. One of the big things that we want to push hard to really give everyone a pleasant surprise is that hopefully the final starting that we mentioned, the level streaming starter, should absolutely be improved and hopefully, minimized to be a annoying factor. And we're also working on optimizing these biomes that I said, that is background costs. So obviously if you gain quite a few more FPS, there are more room for having even larger battle without, stealing too many FPS. And then the other step that we also gonna cover eventually is there's a few things in our character system that allows us to optimize the cost even further, which hopefully will be one of those steps that also make these insane large-scale battles even better in FPS. So it will be in 2 steps. The first one comes with Unreal 5 that will absolutely improve the level stream freezes and an overall better FPS wherever we are in the world. So that will obviously help. But yeah, after that we will do the character optimization as well. So larger battles will be even better.
So a lot of that's coming with Unreal 5. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, level streaming and background FPS will be with Unreal 5.
Are we still looking at like October for Unreal 5?
Yes.
That's not far off.
No.
Nope.
Unless the giveaway's about to roll, did get another good question.
All right.
About,
One last question, and then we roll it.
sounds good. What happens with allied guilds territory that overlaps each other? Like, for instance, in the PTR, I don't know if Kuthara, you know anything about this. With yours and old guards were overlapping, weren't they?
We overlapped several, including enemy guilds. The territory just continues to overlap.
Yeah, I wonder how does tax operate on those? Do they get double taxed?
No, so there's been some issues and bugs in that system on PTR. The keep area of influence should not overlap. It should prevent each others from growing more. As soon as they touch radius, they should stop, which means there's only one that can be taxes, right? So that's being worked on, and it shouldn't overlap anymore.
All right, sounds good.
Yep.
Roll the clock.
All right, let's do the graphic card giveaway then. Any last seconds sign-ups that ticks in? All right, let me find my stuff here. Shit, the window client I'm using for all the sign-up is lagging heavily. Hopefully it will play normally and show the winner without too laggy or crashing, but I should have everyone stored at least anyway in the list, so
I hope it's someone I know, at least. That'd be funny.
all right, let's roll it then. I'm gonna switch over to another winner here, so we will all disappear for a second while we roll it. But all right, good luck everyone. Here goes the Nvidia giveaway. Bam. All right. Let's see.
Oh, is it up on screen? Because
It's about to be, yeah. It is for me.
Yeah, it's up. Let's see if it's lagging or it's all right. It looks like it's lagging a little bit, but hopefully it works.
a very slow
It's
countdown.
just 5
It's a
really
hell of a
long
countdown.
seconds.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's lagging.
It's suspension.
Suspense.
I should-
Easy timing.
Calculated, no lag.
Here we go. Quasi 31. Congratulations. Let's
Crazy.
see.
Oh,
Quasi 31 is he in here? Let's see. Always rigged. All right, let's see. Quasi 31. Let me confirm that everything looks good.
A new Obama account.
True.
they did respond in chat. I see it.
All right, all right. Let's
Oh,
see.
nice.
Yeah, I'm getting some up here just to confirm that everything
So
is.
the account was created on 2020.
Okay.
There you go.
It says.
Solid.
That's good. That's good then. Quasi, is the Mo player or does anyone know?
Would it?
Is it
Does he
X?
have to be an MO player?
No, I'm just curious if anyone
Yeah.
knows.
Oh
if
yeah, I
it's,
don't know. No, I don't know.
No, I don't
Yeah.
know. Man.
I've
Yeah.
not seen him before, no.
We're all gonna remember him now, though.
Indeed.
Yep.
I'll find you in game.
Yeah, Quasi.
All right.
You bastard. He said, yes, I do. There we
Yeah.
go. There we go.
All right. So
Okay.
Right.
just gonna.
So anything left we want to go over? Any last bits?
Maybe one last question from me.
Oh,
'Cause I know I've
okay.
been going hard.
No,
Will-
you've been fine, honestly. You've been completely
Will
fine.
dungeon logging ever be so? Say if you alter for in a dungeon, do anything, will your character just stay there? Will that ever be a thing, or will
Yeah.
that cause too much strain on the server?
No, so
How much what do we have to do to make that a thing? Is the better question.
Yeah, so at one point in time, quite a long time ago, we actually had it like that. So, but we run into some major server issues, so we had to kind of, remove a lot of those functions, and that put us in the position we are now. That people are combat dungeon logging, which they shouldn't be able to do. It is on our quite important list because we want to solve that eventually, rather a little bit sooner than too late or later. So we're discussing it to see how we can secure it and how we can implement those functions again without causing instability on the server. Obviously, it's extremely annoying to experience that kind of crap, right? So obviously we want to secure that part so it's more enjoyable.
I'm glad you guys are thinking about it anyway.
Yeah,
It's good.
yeah.
Mhm.
Real.
I have off-topic question, if I can.
Yeah.
What's the timeline on auction house improvements? Is that Unreal or Unreal 5?
I'm not sure really. We have quite a few suggestions from the community that are obviously a lot of them no-brainers, really good stuff. But again, everyone is obviously extremely busy with Unreal 5. It's quite a transition from Unreal 4, even though it's not as big step as it was from Unreal 3 to Unreal 4. But there are still quite a few areas that we want to, benefit from. So it isn't just a little visual update and no improvement of the gaming experience. And again, that always pushes the team's focus on what's number one, what's prioritized, the most important thing. I think most people will agree that removing big freezes, having a better FPS and a stable experience is number one, right? And then obviously, bugs, and then we have features and quality of life. I guess they goes a little bit more close hand in hand. We try to cover some quality of life every now and then when we see that this is quite quick and easy. We can add some of those. But yeah, I mean, severe bugs is always number one, and critical things. So it's hard to say exactly when we will be able to have some updates on the broker, but we have a list of really good suggestions within the community that just makes it more convenient to use it.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Quasi, I'm just gonna confirm because I can't send him a message. I think he's still in here. Could you?
I saw him type recently.
Yeah. I just want to confirm that we can have the information so we don't lose that before he goes or.
So if you're like returning from a long time, the render range was increased pretty dramatically from what it was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's bad right now, but it's pretty good, honestly, especially compared to how
It was good to me whenever I'm roaming.
Yeah, it feels you
Yeah.
can see people from pretty far away.
I think maybe the only
Massive
issue I have is a
improvement.
bit of pop-in sometimes. So there'll
Yeah,
be
you
like a
can pop
delay
in
on
and out,
their end, and then before you know it, they've already gone past you, or they're already hitting you.
I feel like that just happens around the streaming lines most of the time. but-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
Certain
exactly that.
spots.
Yeah, there are node lines that are there's like a ghost zone in between that holds both character. So when you're on one side of the server and someone else is coming on the other side, if you run towards each other's during that specific line, that gives a higher chance of him loading later. But if you're in mid node, without being close to a node line, then you will see him always on the maximum draw range. So it's a little bit how it works. And we're quite careful about expanding the ghost zones distances because it adds twice as much as cost on the entire server when there's action going on there. So we also try to have the ghost zones node lines on areas where it's not maybe optimal to fight. That's why also you see some of these big rocks that are not climbable. They look a little bit specific. We have a few of those spread out in the world to also remove sensitive gameplay areas in these locations. But yeah, there are still locations left where it can be not as optimal when you run into someone.
Nice.
There also has still been a decent amount of talk from like random, probably people who don't play the game very much or played once, died, and are upset. But just people saying that the game's not catering to small scale or to small groups or to solo players. And first of all, it's an MMO, mass multiplayer online. And secondly, like the changes they have made from like how it was originally to now cater more and more to solo and smaller players. Like originally, you couldn't really make your own village. You couldn't have refining ovens there. You couldn't have all the stuff, and now you can. Just a lot of things have changed that make it a lot more friendly to new players. Everybody keeps saying that, and I don't know why. It's just weird to me.
Can confirm. I have a small group, and yeah, we're doing good.
I actually have both good and bad news.
I'm gonna cry if you say we don't get refining ovens.
No, Quasi didn't meet the requirement for the Nvidia giveaway card, unfortunately. If you read the rules, you have to be followed before August 1st. So, yeah, we have a reroll.
No. Unlucky, Quasi. All right,
we go
let's
again.
put exclamation mark T's in
Need
chat.
to follow the game. That's a basic thing, if you already sign up for the giveaway once, you don't have to do it again. You're already in the list. So, yeah. I guess we do a reroll instantly. Quite unfortunately that...
So just so that no one else is disappointed, you have to be following this channel for a set duration, and the account has to be a certain time old. And that was what, 2 weeks ago is the follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is obviously to prevent some misbehavior.
bot
Right?
accounts.
Yeah,
for sure.
So yeah, a little bit unfortunate, crazy, but the rules are the rules, right? Let's re-roll. Good luck, everyone. And here goes again.
Good luck.
Good luck, everyone. Here we go.
I hope it's somebody everybody knows. It's always fun.
Yes.
It is.
Give it to Schnoz. Come on.
And everyone can... Oh, that would be great, honestly.
Odd Bear TTV gets it.
Oh, no.
Oh God.
All right, a little bit slow again.
It's just
But
suspense
here it
building.
goes. Yeah. And bam! Heimdur.
No way. It's Took.
I do know who that is.
It's bloody Took.
Two.
Oh, Took, you... I'm not even going to say it. I can't believe it.
That's
Rigged.
actually...
What
That is rigged.
is it? An enemy of yours or
That's a
what?
bot character.
It's a for
It's
fun
tough.
enemy. He's an OG super.
Yeah, very, very old player.
All right.
If anyone deserves it, he probably does. The dog.
Yeah, fair play.
Let's see if he qualifies. Heimdur, yeah, I recognize the icon.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's an old timer. Lucky bastard.
Literally.
Congrats.
All right. Congrats. Seems to be in order, I think. Yes. All good.
I mean, he's Swedish as well. Is there something dodgy going on here, Henrik?
True.
Oh, Jesus had one of those. What are they called? The long-legged flies.
Daddy long legs. We
Yeah,
call them in the
yeah.
UK.
All right, let's see. All right, everything seems to be legit. My crew confirmed. We have the giveaway confirmed, and Heimdur it is. Congratulations. All right. Let's see. Shall we do a quick sign up for a game giveaway also while we see we have some wrapping up stuff for question. Let's see, where do we have it? There. One moment, I'm gonna refresh the giveaway thing that is dying on us.
While people are signing up for this, is there any content that's not related to TC coming out in tomorrow's patch? Other than, I think you said, maybe some dynamic spawns, jungle.
I mean,
I imagine most of the focus is TC.
yeah, we have a long list of... Okay, wait. So now I just started the Emma giveaway, so if you wanna participate, you can sign up now. So there's a long list of, obviously, very important bug fixes. Again, we have focused a lot on that. And yeah, we have the dynamic spawners that I would say is one of the big things spread out on entire Midland. We also fine-tune a little bit of all points of interest, all interactables where you can, you know, chest, urns, boxes, all of those a little bit.
Does that mean like adding stuff to POIs that didn't have stuff?
Yeah, we try to tweak them a little bit to be a little bit more rewarding whenever you go there, so you don't just get your one cup from. It's a small step, so we're not sure yet if that's gonna be as impactful as, you know, we all hope.
No, that's pretty huge, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's pretty
big.
big. That's
That's
really
big.
really big.
We will see.
We all
We will
really
see.
care about.
We see how much it's changed anyway.
Exactly. We need to see, again, follow up on it, because there's a few things we want to be careful about also to make sure we have all of that under control. But yeah, a little bit overall there. And what else do we have? Yeah, we have the two groups for elementalism, like we mentioned. We have maybe something in the jungle. I don't know.
Oh, another quick question. I heard Terrorbird bags were added, but there was an issue with them. Are we getting Terrorbird bags this patch?
Hmm. I'm
Because
not sure,
apparently
actually.
they
I'm gonna take a
were
look.
they were on, but there was an issue, so they were disabled, right?
Yeah, there was something about the bags, yeah. And no, we don't seem to have the bags in this patch for Terrorbirds, only for Campadons
We have Campadon bags already, I think.
and armor.
Oh, we get armor for Campadons this one.
Yeah, we should.
Oh,
And
okay.
Bears too, I believe, right?
We get
I
bear armor?
don't think so. So there's one important thing also that we want to include with some of the armor going on all the different pets. That is a balance factor, right? There are an impact on speed when it comes to balance overall, along with improved pet armor. So really be careful there to make sure that we have that along with adding those armors types.
That makes a lot of sense for pets to slow down a lot if they're wearing heavy armor.
Yeah, there's some important balance factors. We want to make sure that they go hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, obviously the main focus has been TC, right? There's a lot of content on the entire TC systems. And we also enabled some of those a little bit longer term goals that were shortened down and a little bit cut in PTR, just to make sure there's a little bit something extra to work towards over time, so everyone isn't... Most likely everyone won't be finished with TC expansion very quickly. There's quite a few things to expand and explore on. But yeah, it should be a massive patch. Like I said, one huge area is also the network. Again, nothing fancy and fun to play around with, but obviously we all know how important it is to make sure the server both get capacity, performance, and the node crash that we had for quite a while on live, people may experience it as a disconnect from the game, and then you can connect again after a moment, and that can obviously cause a bad experience if you got killed or anything. So that is also obviously equal important to get under control. So yeah, it's a big important patch. All right, yep. Sorry.
Just very quickly, Henrik. One thing I seem to ask you all the time, mate, is guild lists fixed for this patch?
Yeah, the guild issues.
Legend.
Yeah.
That's legendary, mate.
Yeah, that's quite important also to make sure
Huge.
that you can kick
Yeah,
and
it's
invite and all that and see what is accurate. So that's finally something we
That's
got under
amazing.
control. Yeah. We also did a few small things, some tweaks here and there. We added additional items on keeps upgrades, so there are more. You can store more items and furniture.
Is that just keeps or strongholds too? or houses?
Only keeps for now. Maybe
Someone asked the other day, can
Yeah.
you build on top of keeps? Like if you put your like catapult on top to counter siege or something, can you build the tent next to it on top of a castle? Or...
Right, so that was on the list. I'm not sure, actually. I have to check the status if you could place this tent there as well. Obviously, when it comes to a stronghold, having a counter siege machine on the roof and having a tent outside is not very effective, right?
Useless.
Yeah.
Useless.
So that's why we're looking into be able to support it. We may also, when we add, there's a few things we're going to add later on, such as, like I mentioned, fire arrows, burning oil, stuff like that, and possible ammo racks to prepare and be more efficient when it comes to these types of things. So there's obviously also room for expanding to promote some of these functions even better also in upcoming expansion of TC.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I mean, you can't do everything at once. And a lot of people keep asking about all these different areas. And Henrik said a few times that, like, we've kind of gone over a lot of it, but a lot of these different systems, like pets, like breeding, like gardening, like jewelry crafting, like melting down stuff. I'm pretty sure, and Henrik can correct me if I'm wrong, but that we're going to have a new roadmap, right? Where this stuff will get voted on. And obviously, you said some stuff can take shorter or longer, but that's when we'll know when all this stuff's going to happen. Is that right?
Yeah. Not even me or no one knows in what order the upcoming feature will be. So that's why we're going to... Now, we still have a big milestone, which is the Epic Game Patch. We all know what's going to be included in that. We're going to update the roadmap because we decided to not squeeze in thievery in Epic Games patch due to some important changes to that system. So we're going to update that so it's up to date. But there's obviously, like I mentioned before, some very big important systems going in with the Epic Game. We have Unreal 5, we have the world optimization, we have the zone security system, new player experience, we have notice boards, recruitment systems. So there's quite a few important things going in there. But after that, that's when we're gonna build the upcoming roadmaps, and that's where we want your input to make the right prioritized order of all those things.
Is there an ETA on when we're going to do the roadmap? I feel like you announced it at some point, but I can't remember.
I'm not sure exactly when. I've been working a little bit on the side to prepare the different options, features, and when I had a little bit breathing room, I tried to work on that a little bit. I can't say exactly when still, but yeah, soon enough there will be plenty of time, obviously, before Epic is fully delivered, and we should have some time to try to cover that. So we will make an update on website when it's time, so everyone can jump in, and there should be plenty of time also to discuss those features and understand them better before people are voting.
Okay, cool. So that's been a question or something along the lines of that like 50 times in chat so far. So.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure if we're about to do the giveaway again, but if time for a specific TC question I've been asked. Do you know much about the supply run? I think a lot of people are a little confused about it. You
So
can take it in... Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, supply run should also be covered. The rules behind that on our big TC manual on the website. So again, it's really good to read up on that, especially if you are a keep owner, because then obviously, you know, it's going to be additional.
Maybe it'd be good to link that, because I actually jumped on the site to pull it up when you mentioned it earlier, and I couldn't find it.
Good idea. Let's see where we have it actually.
I think people were just wondering if you can store the supply run parcels in chests. It's not covered it, but I guess we'll find out.
You should.
I feel like I tried in one of the tests and you couldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
I don't think you can.
I think I found the TC control manual.
Some people are saying you can actually. Because it makes sense, right? Because you want to be able to do a supply run.
It does make sense
with like 5 people at once. So if you can, that makes sense.
It does make sense. I just I feel like I tried it.
Yeah.
Henrik, I linked it in.
Yep. Thanks.
There you go.
Awesome. Yeah. Right. So that's it's good to read up on that. There's quite a lot to go through, and even I forget some details every now and then and numbers. So it's good to read up if you want to dig into it. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to put supply packages anywhere.
But apparently
in bags
you can
or chests.
Like to store them for later. I think that's the idea.
We need to confirm and check the function, because the design says no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently you could in PTR. So.
Yeah.
Is that the latest PTR? Because I remember trying in not the first or second PTR, and you couldn't. So it's interesting.
I think there's some people in talking chat who tried it, like Griff.
But... Oh yeah, Griff. And if Griff said it, it's probably true, to be honest.
Yeah, we will look into it. But yeah, I mean, supply runs is there for a reason, right? Remember, again, in the first game, there was a lot of good things, but also quite a few bad things in TC back in the old game. And one thing that was classic was everyone built in walls, walled off stuff, and then they had their own base out in the wild, and then they could farm creatures, go back and sell all their stuff to their NPCs and just print money infinitely. And they never had to leave their area or walls or have any interaction or transportation or any risk or involvement with any other players, and kind of staggered down and got walled in and died off. So, and it's also quite unrealistic, right, to print money in that way. So we tried to promote play interaction, trading, transportation that does make sense, real world. We may trade to another city, we have this and they like that. So supply run is more of to make sure that you have your city services filled and up and running. And when they're depleting, that's when you do a supply run to nearby cities. And the further away, the more better value in trade in return, and that's how you refill your city services, pretty much, in short. So yeah, it's important function. It's also interesting when you see these, eventually going to see these supply runs groups running around in the world and trading. And obviously, if you catch your enemy doing this, obviously you can cut down their supplies, and they will suffer a little bit. So it's interesting mechanics that helps with these things that was problematic in the first game. So that's the supply run short.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Maybe roll a clock.
Yeah, let's roll the ammo giveaway. Let's go. All right. Good luck, everyone. We have signed up. All right, here goes. Good luck.
Bring out that slow countdown.
Yep. I have refreshed this, so let's see.
Number 53.
Looks like it's still slow again. Yeah. Something.
That's what we like. The build up.
We like it though.
Build up.
Kidding.
Horny goats. All right.
What a
Isn't
name.
that guy
What a
in
name.
Roadside Assistance, I think, maybe? I think it might be him.
Who? Sorry?
Guy in
Damn,
Roadside
you just
Assistance.
hooed him. Oh my goodness.
I
think
didn't hear.
they play in the southeast. They play in the southeast. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
All right.
Oh, he
see.
doesn't follow apparently. Uh-oh.
Unfortunate.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
What the hell is going on? Are people not followed? Chicka boom. Just checking a few things here. All right. So we haven't really had any rules on Mortal Game giveaway at all since the game giveaway actually.
Yeah, you could probably get it then.
Yeah.
It would be kind of weird to actually have a follow limitation on a game copy giveaway, because typically you're going to be giving a game copy away to someone that doesn't have any knowledge of the game or has never been here.
Yeah, we haven't had any rules on the game giveaway since I started the giveaways. So let's go for this one as we've done before. I will just grab that key. As long as he's active, that is. That's the only rule. Is he here?
Let's step away for a second.
Yeah, as long as you're not AFK when I'm giving the giveaway. That's the only giveaway rule for game copy. He haven't written in the chat, right?
He did, I believe. So I was
Okay.
replying to him.
So if you can respond to my DM also, so I can get confirmation with the key. He said hi. Okay, so if we can reach out on the DM, we should be good then. So you have tonight on you to finish Baldur's Gate 3, guys, because tomorrow all hell is gonna get loose.
I only just got into Act 2, for goodness sake.
God
Yeah, I've
damn
got a
it,
bit left on
Lotus.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Have you tried it at all, Henrik?
I haven't had time at all. I just watched it a little bit. It looks cool, looks nice, and it looks like it's a really good game. But yeah, I played the first old games, Baldur's Gate. I enjoyed them very much, and you know, looks like they did a really good sequel to it.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good. I gotta recommend it.
Yeah, the only problem
People
is
have been asking
time.
a lot. People have been asking a lot if alliances can share the towers, or do alliances have to fight for the towers?
They are not shared. So you have to negotiate them, I guess.
There's no thievery tomorrow. Whoever has that.
No thievery, no. I'm not getting a response from Horny Goats. I need a response in a DM to be able to give you the game copy. Let's see, you're writing now here. Why the hell? Wait, do I need to refresh my window?
He's saying he replied.
Let me
Chat
see.
anyway.
Could be my entire computer being a little bit slow. I'm running a lot of shit. Yeah, now when I refresh it, I see the message. That's strange. I had to refresh the entire window to get the messages. All right, that's good.
Nice.
So here is your key. There you are. Good. All right, so we got the giveaway done then. Good.
Yeah, I think most of my queries anyway are pretty much settled, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like the stream was already mostly a question and answer section.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly.
Yeah. Good TC discussions, I think. Yeah.
How much time until TC? It's like 17 hours. There's a countdown on the
yeah,
site,
the
right?
countdown. What are we up to? 16 hours, 18 minutes. I
we are.
assume you have the same time as me.
It's
Oh, it
like
should be.
Yeah.
late afternoon, early afternoon EU time.
Yeah.
comes up.
So 2 o'clock our time. It should be at least. So
It's gonna be like 10 a.m. in the States ish.
So quite early. We wanna make sure that we are covering it also, the entire team, so we don't deploy it late. So we're gonna take down the server early on the morning to prepare everything, and then hopefully we will be able to get it all running very close to the 0 of that countdown. And then we will monitor everything and see what the hell everyone is gonna be doing.
Oh, there's gonna be a rush.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Who's going to get
Someone
sieged
asked-
first? That's what I want to know.
That's the big
Someone
question.
asked about elementalism, and there are elementalism changes. They'll be in the patch notes, but a lot of stuff got changed.
Yeah.
A lot of little tweaks.
Yeah.
Also really cool spells.
Yeah, important updates on the Tiny groups. We got a lot of feedback on some crazy stuff, right? And we have.
Oh yeah, speaking of that stuff,
secure
can you
those.
fly now? Do you fix that?
We fixed that.
Thank you.
That's one of those. We're still working on. I think did we do some changes on? We did some tweaks on the stone wall as well.
Can you still be trapped for 10 seconds?
So that's the
Get
thing.
fireballed to death, or no?
I'm confirming if we have the new function that actually we were discussing with the community last time, and it's under test and confirmation. So we will see. But anyway, it's still also reduced to 5 seconds. But there should be a new rule on it to make it more secured, so you can't get stuck like you could on PTR. Because that was. You got stuck a little bit
10
easier
seconds was just a long time.
and quite long, yeah. So that should be highly improved or completely fixed.
A lot of people are asking patch notes. When can they expect the patch notes?
We will get them out tomorrow morning sometime. I can't say exactly when, but yeah, it's been a huge list, and we also, we also made updates for every PTR release update. So we, trying to combine everything to a long proper TC patch note that includes everything. So, but yeah, it's quite large. So sometime tomorrow it should be done.
Okay. Looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's feels a little bit like Christmas. A little anxious, you never know if the players have found everything, helped us. Obviously, we've done everything we can. But we are also obviously prepared to be able to follow up if players find something really bad that we need to take care of quickly. So we are on standby and are ready for a hot fix or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see the world grow in controlled influence. And yeah, who the hell is going to be the first siege? Where will it be and between who?
It's got to
Good
be
question.
up in GK, right? It's got to be GK because they're the sweatiest. So I think the Carney war machine will be booting up into action right about now. That's my guess.
I'm still wondering if the act thing is gonna be a thing.
Maybe in a few months, I
Oh.
think. Like
Oh.
if things cool down with the regional wars, that's my guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, Kuthara, if you have any idea who trying to siege you, because I don't think anyone
Um,
can really match you.
I don't think we're the largest alliance anymore, honestly. There's
Really?
some big boys out there in the northeast nowadays.
True.
I don't know. I think ACT was fun. HAZ came after that, and it sort of ratcheted up. Quite a few other guilds have come over to us and said, you know, please don't. So,
Yeah,
it is
that's
what
fair
it is.
enough.
I mean, we'll mostly just chill. We'll draw a line into most of that and just chill and see where boulders start flying.
Yeah.
We've got our own targets that we'll be going for pretty quickly.
Oh.
So you're going offense before defense, or what?
There'll be a couple that we'll go for like straight off the bat.
Interesting. So yeah, not many hours left. Holy shit, it's been quite a journey towards TC. Finally here. People would never thought that they would come. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of upset people. I just hope that they don't quit the game. Say if their like keep gets blown up or something.
I don't think it's as impactful as it was in ML1, honestly. Like, you lost your keep in ML1, it was pretty big, and here
Really?
it doesn't seem as
So it's
impactful.
not. It's
So-
not.
I mean, keeps is. I think there's still a lot to be developed to make keeps more useful still. And
Yes, I think we're also looking at it from like the end of ML1, and there was a lot more in it, and I do agree with that sentiment though. I don't think they're worth as much.
I don't think you'll see a full-on keep siege day one either. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of like smaller sieges on houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see at least all the progression towards TC.
Mhm.
And yeah, hopefully I can join in on the underdog side in some of the madness.
Hidden side, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Would be fun.
Alright.
Yeah, I think everyone would like to see.
I've got to go cook dinner now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me on, Henrik. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we're hitting a 3-hour mark, so I guess this is a good time to wrap things up. Yeah, I want to thank you all for joining in today and helping do a little community TC stream together. It's been nice today. And yeah, awesome to get some help with some question readings. I could ignore some of the chaos and get some assistance with that also.
no
all right.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
So yeah, I hope to see you in TC sometime tomorrow, and yeah, hope things.
I'll see you all on the battlefield. See how it
All
goes.
right.
Yes.
Good
All
luck.
right. Yeah. Thank you all, and talk to you soon.
Later, guys. Bye bye.
Catch you
All
later.
right.
See you guys.
Bye. I'm sticking, guys, to do a little raid. If I will do the classic. Let's see. What do we have streaming today? Got a few streamers. Let me do as I usually does. Help me pick who we should raid today. When is TC official release? It's a big countdown on the website, and this is the pre-TC stream before TC go live tomorrow. So in 16 hours, TC is planned to go live finally. Let's see. You can give me a quick vote, and I will do the raid. I think I've done a raid on everyone that is currently streaming in the past, if I'm not mistaken. All right, 1 minute. Quick vote, guys. Quick vote. Time to reinstall. Indeed it is. And you guys that are busy with Baldur's Gate 3, you have 16 hours to complete it. Because TC is happening in 16 hours. And it's going to be beautiful. Thor is new. I rated Thor before. He's indeed fairly new. He's been here for a while now, getting into the game. Same with Will Be Live. 2 really nice streamers, really nice people. I've been interacting with them in their streams, and I've done raids to them previously. So yeah, let's see who it is today. He's in the lead. 10 seconds left. Just start Act 3. Wish me luck. Hurry up, demo man. You know, everyone is needed for TC. Thor the Titan it is. Where's Jonah Whale on the list? What list do you mean? Lol who? W pet leash range in the Motu. And you can have mill power against times again. We're doing some work there. Pet. We are working on some pet balance along with some pet gear going into the game in upcoming patches. We have done quite a few sets of armors, for instance, that are getting ready. Krakow, no, we are fighting against them, and we have done a lot of work lately, so don't worry about that too much. All right, I'm gonna do the raid. Wolfshite, yeah. Sorry for butchering the pronunciation as usual, but you know, we will do additional community streams. We will have the community interaction soon as well, so you're welcome in upcoming ones for sure. So, if I'm not mistaken, 1 second when it comes to. Yeah, we did a little fix to update everyone's housing, so you shouldn't have to continue build it up to the new cap of the hit points. You should have that included. We increased the hit points in this patch on all housing, and that should be updated if I'm not mistaken. I'm fairly sure Sebastian did a little fix for that. Yeah, demo man. I mean, everyone is welcome in upcoming streams as long as people can behave. All right, guys. I need some night snacks as well, and getting ready for a long, exciting day tomorrow. So let me do the raid to Thor then. Yeah, like I said, a fairly new player, getting into it. A really nice guy, really nice, and he's been streaming the game for quite a few times now. I've seen him stream a few times, so let's show him some support, guys. Follow him and let's see what he's up to. Let's do the raid. Thor the Titan. All right, everyone, thank you for joining in today's stream and with all your questions, donations and all that. Sorry for missing some of the donations and all that. I missed some of that. Sorry for that. I will check them, and we will recap it next stream, guys. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you tomorrow in about 16 hours from now. Let's play some TC finally. All right, here we go. Raid time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I try my best to make the streams interesting and cover as much as possible. All right. Thank you very much again, and have a good night. And let's take a look on Thor the Titan, what he's up to. Show him some support, guys. All right. Have a good one. Bye bye. Oh, and thank you for the subscription, Lord Conjurer.